Start and end your search today at Diamonds Direct. Learn more at diamondsdirect.com, where Austin gets engaged at the domain beside Dick's Sporting Goods. Always proud to call ATX home. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
The Horn text line has moved. Join the conversation on the new Horn text line. 512-447-3776. That's 512-447-3776. Aaron Hogan, Rod Babers, Hook 'em Up, 1019 AM 1260, The Horn.
Bullish BS coming to you live from the home headquarters here in South Austin. And as we look out the window here, Rod, at the Onion Creek Golf Course, hole number 13 north. Ooh. Little frost on the pumpkin this morning. Little frost on the greens and the fairways. Chilly this morning.
Yes,
so
it is.
Grab a coat.
Oh, man, I'm running like 3 layers now. Got a hood on and everything. Still got to get it done, but, oh, yeah, it's cold out there in the morning.
38 degrees right now. It's a little frost warning here going on out at the old OC. 60 will be your high temperature today, but by game day and Saturday for the Longhorns, we're looking at 77 and sunny.
That's perfect.
That'll be the high, so it'll be about 70-ish right when the game kicks off.
That's nice, man.
That's perfect. So if you're headed out to your tailgates and all that go on Saturday, it's an early kick and
Too early
for
a ranked matchup. Come on, man.
Well, and that's the problem. We had this last year with the Alabama game. When Fox has your game.
That's true. That's their window.
When Fox, remember, they rotate week to week, and they almost do like draft picks. They pick it. But, yeah, I'm not bullish on that it's an 11 o'clock game. But the Alabama game's the same way. When Fox has the first pick and they're going to take the best game, they're going to put it at 11. That's the big noon thing. They've invested a lot of dollars into that show. They're trying to compete with College Game Day, which – they're really not, but they're trying.
Yeah,
and they feel like big picture with the big when they take the Big Ten and
expanded Big
Ten.
Yeah.
That's going to be their game of the week, and because we know forever now the SEC's biggest game of the week has been the 2:30 window, that middle of the day 2:30 kick, if not a primetime game. But that's Fox's deal is because then once they leave the 11 o'clock window or noon window on the East Coast, they go regional with the games at 2:30 and at night. Where, ABC can, ABC's the same way, but they also would. This would be a primetime game for ABC.
Oh, man.
I don't think there's any doubt about that.
It shouldn't be 11 a.m., but I get it. Like you said, logistically,
but you know what?
It works for them.
It's one of 2 remaining tailgates. So load up the coolers and the Bud Lights and get everything out there. Be there by 7:30, 8 o'clock, and it'll be perfect weather.
Yeah.
They have not announced the Longhorn City Limits Music Act yet, but usually if at 11 o'clock, it's going to be after the game.
Oh,
They're going to do it after. But we'll get that because Nick Shuley will be in here with set list.
That might be dropping today.
Usually after our show on a Wednesday is when they announce it.
Toward the end of the show it does, yeah. CBO help us to it.
Hey, Ty, can you play some audio? I sent you the head coach of Central Michigan on the Twitter machine there. I want you to see what this is because this is Jim McElwain. Now, look, this is bullish or BS, Rod. Some photos surfaced that might be the Michigan staffer Connor Stallions in attendance on the sidelines wearing Central Michigan gear, a hat and a pullover, and scouting and looking across the way at Michigan State.
Got some sunglasses on.
Yeah, he's kind of looking,
He's looking shady.
incognito.
He's looking shady. If that's him.
Here is Jim McElwain, the head coach of the Central Michigan Eagles, when asked about, hey, was that Connor Stallions, the Michigan staffer, on your sidelines?
Before we go any farther, we've obviously are aware of pictures floating around with the sign stealer guy. Doing everything they can to get to the bottom of it. We're totally unaware of it. I certainly don't condone it in any way, shape, or form. And I do know that his name was on none of the passes that were let out. Now we keep tracing it back and try to figure it out. But it's in good hands with our people. And again, there's no place in football for that.
Man.
Okay, so know what he didn't say? He didn't say, "Oh no, that's Joe. That's our quality control guy, Joe. That's not Connor Stallions." It's pretty clearly it's Connor Stallions.
So which means,
he's doing damage control of how did he get there?
Which means exactly. They don't know who it is, and if they come out and say it's not Connor Stallions, then you have to identify who the person is in the photo. Then we're gonna want to know who that person is.
Well, the easy thing would have been, "Oh no, that he may look like him, but that's our guy. That's somebody on our staff."
And they didn't
he
go
didn't
that
say
route.
that.
Yeah, and he, like I said, they didn't say, "Oh, that's not Connor Stallions," because if you say that, then you got to say the next question will be, "Okay, so who is it then?" Yeah, I'm with you. They're researching it right now to find out who it is, and they're praying and hoping to God it's not Connor Stallions on their sideline. And honestly, right now it looks like it is.
Okay,
it looks like it is.
So here's the next level of the espionage.
Wow.
So people would say, well, how do you get onto the sidelines? Well, listen,
that's pretty easy actually.
It is, and the sidelines which you've been on, I've been on the sidelines, Rod, many times.
Right people.
Yeah, you got to know one person who gets you on a pass list, and then you're on the sidelines. Once you're on the sidelines, no one really bothers with you.
Nope. No, you got the pass.
And then if you look the part. What do they say when you're trying to sneak into something? Just act like you belong.
Act like you belong, man.
And everybody's doing their job. They're not worried about this guy just standing there.
No, because you could be important, so they're not going to mess with you. Because if you're really important out there, there's a reason you're on the sideline. If you're really important, like a booster or a donor or some politician or something, and then you go out there and you offend them in some regard, you might get fired. Right? So that's why they leave you alone on that sideline. They assume you must be important.
Well,
There's a reason you're here.
Disappointed that here we are on Wednesday, and the Big Ten has made no statement about this. They're going to allow Michigan to keep playing, I guess. But that's scouting a different opponent. It's one thing to be in the stands and be recording. It's another thing to be on the sidelines.
If he is indeed on the sidelines, and that's him,
Central Michigan was playing Michigan State,
and that was the whole point.
Who Michigan just played.
Yeah. Before
their bye week.
And so it's right now. It says crazy. He had a VB badge on. And CMU Athletics Director Amy Folan released a statement saying that the VB pass allows access to an area between the 20-yard lines for a certain amount of people for each game. But that was
how about Jim McElwain, the coach?
He's involved
before we go too far, I want to mention. I know there's a picture floating around of the sign stealer guy. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, but how is this? How is it possible that Jim McElwain, the most obscure of all kind of college football coaches, has been involved now with two infamous photo scandals and conspiracy theories? Remember, he was the coach they thought was in the photo with the shark. You remember the shark photo?
No.
They thought was Jim McElwain.
Which shark?
That went viral. You remember this time? I'm not making this up, am I?
I don't remember the shark thing.
Oh, you don't remember this? There was a man who was naked butt naked on top of a shark on a boat, and everybody thought it was Jim McElwain. He had to address it.
Former Alabama assistant.
He had to tell the media, no, that was not me, butt naked on top of a shark.
I don't really need to see a butt-ass naked man on a shark, but I need to know this story.
It looks like Jim McElwain.
I'd forgotten. All right, we'll be back. We roll on. It's our 5-hour conversation every morning here on Hook 'em Up. More on the Longhorns at number 7. Trade deadline in the NFL, and a coach fired in the National Football League, plus the Rangers are a win away from a championship.
What are the odds?
Haven't had all that many backtracking this morning, but we are still dealing with one.
Ty, I'm going to send you McElwain's response because he has a response to it.
Flow coming out of Georgetown and Brown Rock, of course, southbound Flow 130 coming from 1431 to 1245. That's backing up well. Mopac in North Austin in front of the Domain Heavy. I-35 southbound in North Austin, 290 southside northbound on the interstate. Not as bad in Hays County, but Onion Creek as the downtown is going to be slow westbound on 71. Now extending with those delays toward Austin Bergson Airport right now. I'm Don Miller, and there's your traffic.
All right, Viking Fence, the premier fence company in the ATX, have been since 1972. You know that. And if you're a construction superintendent heading out on this frost morning, also contractors, and you plan events, right? And what do you need? You got to put on a great event, or you're going to build a structure, a building, a house, but you need perimeter security. You need to not worry about people getting in and out of your space, things getting taken. You want that state of mind and that peace of mind. And that's what Viking Fence delivers and has for 50 years when it comes to their temporary rental fence division. The same company that is so reliable with the permanent fences I tell you about all the time, they will also save you time, money, and headaches on your temporary rental fence. And it's, they do their job, you do yours, right? Control what you can. Viking Fence controls the setup to the teardown, prompt and courteous customer service, flexible pricing plan so you fix your costs and it's your budget. They have damage waiver rates, which eliminate untimely chargebacks. They have an entire division. This is all they do, is the temporary fence and the perimeter security, and whether it's the barricade or the chain link fence or bathroom and lighting they can do as well, just so you can focus on your event, focus on your project, not worry about the rest. They'll be in and out, and it'll all be good over and over again. It's that excellent work, great service, the honest reputation. Call Viking Fence today, 837-6411. Actually, put them on speed dial right now. Make a contact of yours at Viking Fence, 837-6411. Find them online at vikingfence.com. That's vikingfence.com. No matter what division, no matter what the job, when you think fence and temporary rental fence, always think Viking.
Protect your engine better with Syntec Full Synthetic High Mileage Motor Oil, only at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Syntec High Mileage is formulated for today's engine. For info on placing your lunch or dinner order, visit vaqueroscafe.com. Hook 'em up with P and Rod P. Brought to you by Bud Light on the Horn.
Oh, man, appreciate the conversation this morning. A lot of them. Rangers are a win away from a championship for the first time in franchise history. We're doing our best not to jinx it, but it feels pretty solid right now. But Ranger fans have been here one win away. I won't remind you of 11, but you know it. But feeling good about the Rangers after they decisively dominate the Diamondbacks last night, even without Adolis Garcia in their lineup or even on their playoff roster, but still plenty of offense for the Rangers. Also, a lot of thoughts on the text line this morning. Appreciate those conversations. 512-447-3776. It says you guys think maybe the NCAA is going to wait till the playoffs come around and drop the hammer on Michigan and stick it to Harbaugh. Look, I don't, Rod, the one thing I have predicted on this since it first started is it's going to grow quickly. because you could tell pretty quickly that this has been kind of whispered about behind the scenes, and there'd been information being compiled, and all of a sudden, once it's out, right? The dam is broken on, what people have been holding on to, because now there's confirmation of it, and now the digging is on. I don't know how this is going to play out. I've argued the Big Ten should get ahead of it and go to wireless headsets for the rest of the year. They haven't done that.
Well, it's too late now.
I know.
It's too late.
Too late. It's Wednesday.
Last week was the time to do it when you brought that idea up, which was a good idea, but it's too late now. It's got a mind of its own.
Well, and now it's at this point,
because nobody said anything. There's been no other side to the story.
Well, I mean, Jim Harbaugh kind of mumbled this week at his press conference, let it play out. Got to let it play out.
What?
But again, this is
let it play out.
And, he's let the investigation play out, I should
That's
say.
what I'm saying. When you're innocent, you don't say stuff like that.
Yeah, it's
you don't say something like, you go out there and you go, man, I had nothing to do with this. I have no idea what's going on. That is something rogue operation within my organization. I have to fix it, but that ain't got nothing to do with me. I will be absolved here.
I think the Big Ten should have made a statement or said something or done something, because they may be the best team in the country right now, but they're third in the first college football playoff rankings. There's argument that they're already getting dinged for it. But at the same time, any information that they've gathered, Rod, they have.
Yeah.
Right. It's all there. They have it. And what what's allowed in the Big Ten is that you still have to do your non-wireless or your non-headset communication. So you got to do your signs. Well, now there's an argument that everybody that they play in the Big Ten, Michigan already knows them. So you can, at least the teams in the Big Ten can make dramatic changes, kind of like TCU did last year before the semifinal game that they won. Last time Michigan took a loss, really, in the last 2 years was that game. So, yeah, I mean, at least there's that it's out there and the teams are aware of it, that there could be something to be make sure you're being very disguisey with your signs. But either way, this says I can't wait to see where Stallions shows up next.
Oh, man. Now, now, if you're a college football program that somehow was in the orbit of Michigan and this scandal, you got to go check sidelines of your opponents and stuff like that. Or if you're an opponent, you go see, like, did this dude, is it any way he infiltrated our damn sideline or something? With our opponent, something like that. You have to actually do the research, because you don't want to be like Jim McElwain, caught off guard when they're asking you, oh, man, did you know that that you had Connor Stallions, or allegedly had Connor Stallions on your sideline? You don't want to be caught off guard. So right now you have to put a team of your support staff out there, potentially, if you were one of these teams, to try to figure out, hey, man, is it possible that Connor Stallions is on our sideline? Because I don't want to see this on Twitter. All right? I don't want Twitter to reveal this to us before we have a chance to get in front of it. Because that now is a possibility. That is sinister.
Yeah. Good question here on the text line, and maybe our texters can help, because I'm trying to remember this, Rod, and you'll probably remember. Somebody said, any idea for an 11 a.m. kick when I should have my little kids to Bevo Boulevard to see Bevo, the band, and the team? I think that would be 8:30 to 9:30-ish for an 11 o'clock kick. I know you and I, we did the show from Bevo Boulevard last couple of years, and I think it's 2.5 hours to kick.
I bet they have a schedule. I'm going to look it up for you.
Because we used to get a little rundown, and they do the band walks through, then Bevo with the band, and then the player walk comes through. And, yeah, you don't want to miss that. It's pretty cool. It might be 9 o'clock, but at the same time, I think it may be just a tad earlier. I would say grab a coat and get down there between 8 and 10, and you should be good. But Rod's going to get you the exact time. That's coming up on Saturday morning. Let's get to the other headlines, though. Longhorns sitting right in a good spot. Not surprising where they land in the first college football playoff rankings. Let's get it. Top Gun Rentals and Lawn Equipment bring you the top stories. Yeah, Longhorns and college football last night. First edition of the college football playoff rankings revealed, and undefeated Ohio State slotted at the top with their undefeated record, plus wins over Notre Dame and Penn State already. 3 more unbeatens round out the rest of the top 4, with 2-time reigning champs Georgia, number 2. Michigan is 3. Then Florida State out of the ACC is 4. Washington, undefeated out of the Pac-10, is 5, followed by 1-loss Oregon. Then the Longhorns check in at number 7. They are the highest-ranked team out of the Big 12. Alabama, OU, and Ole Miss round out the top 10. As for the rest of the Big 12, Kansas and Oklahoma State are 21 and 22. Longhorns' opponent this Saturday at DKR, the K-State Wildcats, are 23. NFL, big news coming down this morning. The Raiders have relieved head coach Josh McDaniels and general manager Dave Ziegler of their duties. Fired here midway through the season. Antonio Pierce, their linebackers coach, will take over on an interim basis. Flurry of trades yesterday ahead of the trade deadline yesterday afternoon. Not surprising. Niners, though, made another big splash. Last year it was Christian McCaffrey that they swung the deal for. Yesterday it was Chase Young, the number 2 pick of the 2020 draft. They sent a third-round compensation pick to Washington to acquire Chase Young. Earlier in the day, the Bears sent a 2024 second-round pick to Washington for the Commanders' other young pass rusher, Montez Sweat. Lions acquired Donovan Peoples-Jones from Cleveland. Vikings add quarterback Josh Dobbs from Arizona. Bills snagged cornerback Rasul Douglas. And Jacksonville bolstered their interior offensive line by adding guard Ezra Cleveland from Minnesota. Texas Rangers, 1 win away now from their first ever World Series crown. They pounded their way to an 11-7 win over the Diamondbacks last night in Arizona. They take a 3-1 advantage in the best-of-7 series. Rangers put Game 4 away early. Marcus Semien ripped a 2-run triple to highlight a 5-run second inning, and Semien ripped a 3-run homer to highlight a 5-run third inning. Corey Seager made it 10-0 with a 2-run shot of his own. Rangers improved to 10-0 on the road in this postseason. They're within 1 win of their first title in the 63-season history of that franchise. It started with the expansion Washington Senators in 1961. Light night in the NBA, just 3 games, but it did include a stunner where the Spurs went into Phoenix, fell behind by 20 in the third quarter, and rallied to beat the Suns, 115-114. They rallied for the win. They stunned it on Keldon Johnson's late strip steal and layup. Took it from Kevin Durant and laid it in. Spurs get the victory there.
More headlines brought to you by Top Gun Rentals and Lawn Equipment. Double up discounts this month for getting 5% off any rental or purchase of steel outdoor power equipment by donating 2 non-perishable food items to Capital Area Food Bank. TopGun.net. Straight.
Okay, so real quick for the texter that wants to know about the kids. Now, this is an early game, so I'm not sure that the 5 hours before the game applies to Bevo Boulevard. We used to get down there like 4 hours before when we were doing, obviously, pregame stuff. And even early on, it would still be open with people walking around, but they'd be setting up stuff.
Yeah, they open at
also.
7. I think gates open at 7
so
or 8.
So it's open, but just so you know, it probably won't be set up like that. But if you basically the parade that my man E's talking about, that's what everybody enjoys. You get to see Bevo and the players and all that kind of stuff kind of walk down. That includes the cheerleaders and the band, that kind of stuff. 3.5 hours before kickoff.
All right, so 8:30.
Yes, so 3.5 hours before kickoff is what you're looking at there. Well, yeah, so 7:30, right?
No, 3 hours.
Okay, so no, because right.
Well, 2 would be 9. So yeah, 3.5.
If it's 3.5 hours, if it's 3.5 hours before kickoff, that.
I just know we were there for early games, and it was not that early. It wasn't coming through at 7:30, but we'll see. We'll find the answer. I think it's probably.
I'm going off what I'm reading. Here.
Yeah, I
get
get
the information I'm reading. I don't know. I'm not going off personal experience because, like I said, I don't go out there, and I don't have kids that go down there either. But yes, that's what it says here.
Yeah.
About 3.5 hours before kickoff.
Okay. Well, I'll double check that, but I think it's probably going to be about 8:30, 8:45. But just on my own memory of sitting there watching it happen while we were doing the show on Bevo Boulevard, that's about the time. We did it for
the player walk has to be somewhat early though, because you got to get the players in.
Yeah, you do.
So
and get on the field, get stretched.
Yeah, so it's good. The players walk has to be somewhat early. I know that. So I don't know what time it is, but I know it's got to be pretty early because hell, I'm a player. I mean, we used to be there sitting down at 3 hours before the game, ready to get taped and do all of our stuff individual, and that's no rush. So that was going to be pretty early.
All right. Well, let us know if you know where that stands, because we want that guy to have his littles out there to see it, because there's only 2 more chances. Bevo Boulevard 2 more times. This game, and then, of course, the Friday after Thanksgiving with Texas Tech. Longhorns will be on the road the next 2 games as we are now into the month of November. Will it be a November to remember for the Longhorns? They put themselves in that position that it can be a very special year for the Longhorns. But, man, it can turn pretty quick if things don't go well on Saturday. By the way, that Phoenix Suns Spurs game last night, that didn't end well for the Spurs. I mean, for the Suns. Did you see this? They were up 20, then they came down and they had the lead still. The Spurs made a rally, and one of the Suns threw up a 3-pointer, or the Spurs threw up a 3-pointer, missed it. No one blocked out Victor Wembanyama. He laid it in. Made it a 1-point game with under 5 seconds to go. I mean, it was good. The clock was running. They throw it into Kevin Durant. And they, I'm sure Kevin thought that they were going to come foul him, so he kind of turned right on the baseline, right in the corner, and Keldon Johnson just stripped it out of his hands and ran to the bucket for a layup.
Wow.
Won the game. I mean, Kevin Durant not paying attention. I mean, all he had to do was curl the ball, and they were going to foul him, and he was going to go to the foul line. I know it's October basketball, but still, that's a brain fart by KD. I mean, he's got to just wrap that up, get the foul, go hit free throws, and the game's going to be over.
Yeah.
Instead, they lose the ball game. I'm sure that it's just a weird finish. But Victor Wembanyama, I did see the The Slender Man costume, pretty good.
It's pretty good, right?
Solid
It is
Halloween costume.
Simple and to the point. Yeah, I thought Wemby did a good job with that one, man. I haven't watched a lot of early season NBA. It's honestly, it's World Series is going on, NFL is going on. Sorry, early season NBA.
Oh no, I didn't watch the game. I just saw the highlights. I got my 6 screens up here.
Exactly. I guess that's the benefit of having 6 screens. Like, you know what? Sorry, early season NBA. You're gonna have to wait. College football, NFL, World Series with the Rangers. Yeah, got to prioritize.
It says, guys, it was 8:35 for the Alabama game. But for an 11 o'clock kick, that's typically when it was, because we were down there on Bevo Boulevard so many times doing the show for 4 hours and getting ready for games. That's just my memory of it. But we will certainly find details as we can. Rod's going to have some behind the burnt orange curtain stuff for Texas, who are sitting at 7, right where we thought. The question was going to be Oregon or Texas, and I guess you could go either way. Oregon's metrics are really, really strong. I mean, Oregon, as we said yesterday, Rod, is a one-loss team, the only team that's in the top 10. If you go to yards per play, which is a good metric of the dominance of a team, their yards per play, they're in the top 10 offensively, and their yards per play allowed, they're in the top 10 defensively. They've committed the fewest turnovers in the FBS, Oregon, and their only loss was to number 5 Washington at Washington, in a game they had every opportunity to win. I mean, I'm sure Dan Lanning still kicks himself for some of those 4th down decisions he made with Bo Nix and taking field goals. They end up losing that game when a field goal that would have sent it to overtime misses. Yep. So Oregon is the highest-ranked one-loss team. But Texas's argument is their opponents that they've beaten have a record of 40-24, which is the best of any of the contenders. That's 16 games over 500, so they really haven't played a bad team. Every team they played has a winning record. And they've got ranked wins over Kansas and Alabama, of course. At Alabama, that's the best win of anybody. And their loss was in a rivalry game, in a very end-of-game situation on a neutral site. So don't have a bad loss, have a bunch of good wins. So it's very close between them and Oregon as far as that goes. But, we got a month of football left, Rod. This is just the snapshot, the first glance, and Longhorns are right where they need to be.
Yeah, the committee is just a little inconsistent all over the place with exactly why teams, they haven't explained this, but just kind of looking at the rankings, why teams are ranked where they are. Ohio State, and you pointed out yesterday, you want to see the teams with the best resumes be ranked the highest. Well, I think that is the case with Ohio State, but not necessarily the case with Florida State, which are ranked behind Michigan and Georgia, which don't necessarily have great resumes, but I understand they're getting the benefit of the doubt, especially Georgia's getting the benefit of the doubt because they're defending national champions, and Kirby Smart's a made man now, so they're getting that little bump, and then Michigan's getting the bump because they have won their games probably by the most impressive fashion. They've won it, in a dominant fashion, so they're getting style points is why they're ranked so high. So I'm just not sure exactly what is valued more by the committee: style points, resume, benefit of the doubt, that kind of stuff. They got a lot of different variables I'm sure they're throwing into the mix. And you're right, Michigan, hell, they might, the sign stealing scandal, or they get knocked because of that. We'll never know. I think there are a lot of different factors now that have been thrown into the mix that helping them evaluate right now the current rankings. And I'm with you. I think I'd rather see it based on resume, but we won't get stacked resumes for a lot of these teams until later on in the season.
Well, and I still think the Longhorn goal should be winning the Big 12 championship. But now, because there are 5 teams tied at 4-1 atop the conference.
Well, that's not going to. Yeah, it doesn't guarantee you in, but it gives you the best shot.
The only way to get to the Big 12 championship game now is to win out. I mean, you got to win every game.
Yeah, because
you've already stubbed your toe one time in the Oklahoma game, so you don't have any margin of loss here. And so, but that's the exciting part. Meaning the goal to start the year was get to the Big 12 title game and win it. But to do that now, you got to win out. And if they do that, they're going to be in this conversation. And that's the added benefit of where they are right now. They're going to be in the national title conversation. Now, as we've said, Rod, there are 4 spots, right? Next year, there'll be 12.
So you don't have to worry about this. It won't even be a stressful conversation.
Right. Next year, there'll be 12. But with 4, if we assume if Georgia, Florida State, and whoever wins out Michigan, Ohio State, those are 3 spots gone.
Done.
Can Georgia take a loss here between now and the end? They've got to play Florida and Miami.
But the SEC will get a spot.
SEC will get a spot.
Big 10 will get a spot. We know that.
Yeah. And so
that's 2 gone.
You feel like it, right?
Yeah.
Now, I mean, if Georgia takes a loss and Bama's got a 1 loss, and then we get into that semantics, that could be really interesting. But let's be real. if Florida State's through the toughest part of their schedule, they still have to win November and win the ACC
Got to
championship.
play the rivals, but they're not ranked real high.
Yeah, Florida still has, FSU still has to play Florida in that rivalry game, but Florida's shown to be pretty much a paper tiger right now for Billy Napier. Miami, that could be a challenging game for them.
That could be something, but
in the ACC.
they're not ranked real, so that would be in the big upset. But
they just beat Clemson and they beat North Carolina, so that one won't be easy. And then they've got to win the ACC championship, which looks all very doable with a sixth-year quarterback in Jordan Travis and what they're doing with Mike Norvell. Georgia they look like their schedule is still very favorable. Now they're going to have to win the SEC championship game, which at this point looks like it could be Alabama.
Yeah.
In that game. But again, if we just concede that the winner of Michigan, Ohio State will be undefeated and winner of the Big Ten, Georgia, Florida State, those are three spots. You got one left. And that becomes the debate between whoever wins the Pac-12 and whoever wins the Big 12.
Yep.
Who's going to get that last spot? If you're Texas and you win out, I mean, that's why I just went through those Oregon scenarios. If Oregon were to win out and Texas were to win out, it's going to be a really close argument. It's going to be a really close argument.
It would be. It depends. It's going to depend on how really the Pac-12, how it shakes out toward the end, because they play a lot more ranked opponents toward the end. I'm not sure what the end of their schedule looks like. That could give them a bump. Texas at least gets this K-State bump because K-State's 25th in the polls. But after that, I don't know if Texas will get a bump. TCU, Iowa State, they're not going to end up ranked, are they?
Well, I mean, this would be interesting, Rod, if they were to win this game.
Because let's assume Texas wins this game, so they get a top 25 bump.
And we're saying that knowing they could very well lose
yes,
this game.
We're not being cocky or arrogant. We know they could lose.
Well, let's just, for the sake of this conversation, they win this game with a backup quarterback at home against the 23rd ranked team in the country, who's maybe the hottest team in the Big 12. That could bump them over Oregon in next week's ranking. Right? Yeah. That could take them to 6.
You play that week by week
because it's very close.
Yes.
And a win over a ranked team, adding ranked win over Alabama on the road, ranked win against Kansas, ranked win against Kansas State.
Kansas beating Oklahoma helps you out, and then it hurts you.
Right.
Yeah.
And the strongest strength of schedule, that could bump them up to 6. And then, again, because Oregon still has to play USC. Oregon still has to play Oregon State.
Where's USC now?
It's in Oregon.
Okay.
Because USC this week plays Washington at home.
That's big.
In Los Angeles, they play Washington, who's ranked number 5. I know it's hard to root for Lincoln Riley, but if you're a Longhorn fan, you'd like to see Washington take a loss. And that game very well could be 63-60.
Honestly, they could end up knocking USC out of the top 25.
Oh, altogether.
Yeah, right. If they beat them badly enough, they could knock them out altogether. They got Oregon State at the end of the season. Oregon does. That's in the rivalry game, and they're ranked right now.
Pac-12, everybody in Pac-12 is pretty dang good.
But so that could end up bumping them up a little bit too. But yeah, you're right. It's gonna be close. It's gonna be close between those two if they both take care of business.
If they do, and as we said, I was reading some comments from Chris Kleiman, who's the head coach at K-State, and he's obviously very impressed with Texas, and he hasn't beaten Texas. This guy, Chris Kleiman's like, man, these teams, whether it was Tom Herman or Steve Sarkisian, the Longhorns have really turned the tables of that series. Sark's 2-0. It's 2-10 in the last 2-8 in the last 10 games for K-State against Texas. And yesterday, Kleiman does a Tuesday media availability, not Monday like Sark does. And he said this was quote with the Longhorns. He says, I think this might be the best team that I've seen in my 5 years for Texas collectively. When I say that, it's because I don't see any weakness on either side of the line of scrimmage or special teams. They're playing with a ton of confidence. They believe they're going to be successful. Also said, you're not going to be able to make Texas one-dimensional. We've been able to make a few teams one-dimensional recently. We're really not going to be able to do that this week. He also put a challenge out to his offensive coordinator. He says, we can't go into this game thinking we're going to rush for 350, but we can't go into this game thinking we're going to throw for 55 because we can't run the football. He emphasized that the need for Colin Klein to create manageable distances, down and distance on first and second down, which will be Sark said it Monday. First and second down, who can avoid third and longs? Mm-hmm. Will be critical in this game.
Totally agree.
Because they both love to stay ahead of the chains, which gives them, the full playbook on second and short or third and short to attack a defense. Otherwise, the defense then gets to pin its ears back and come after if it gets to third and 7 or more. That's going to be the challenge in this football game when you get down to it. But again, Sark has been pretty successful against Kleiman. Both teams are pretty physical. And the one thing we did the On Texas Football live stream last night with Jerry Hamilton, and Jerry said he had a long conversation with someone within the program and said that Monday was not a good day for the offensive line. Monday, the offensive
They
line,
got after him, huh?
they got after him.
Yeah, they should have.
And Sark wasn't happy with the inability to punch it in from the goal line twice against BYU. Because, you can understand Sark. He's a creative guy with his play calling. At the same time, y'all, this is a mano-a-mano thing. This is a pride thing.
Well,
This is us against them.
He's been bragging about big humans for the last 2 years, and I think at this point, Longhorn fans are like, you know what? To hell with the big humans. Can I just get good old linemen that can block? Like, you can have your big humans if you want to. Give me the old linemen that can effectively block in short yardage and goal line situations.
Yeah.
And you can have your big humans back.
And but you know what? They seem to block in short yardage situations in the middle of the field pretty darn well.
Yeah, but middle of the field is always different because you don't have to defend the deep. You don't,
Yeah.
have to defend what's behind you. We're in the red zone. Goal line is different than short yardage, I guess. There, you can make that determination because if short yardage, I still got to defend the deep if I'm in the middle of the field in between the 20s. But if I'm on the goal line in the red zone, then to me that's easier because I can just go all out and I don't have to worry about you beating me deep because there is no deep.
All right. I have now the official UT document of when this will start. 8:45. 8:45, Rod. Thank you
There
to
you
someone on Twitter who sent it to me.
Shout out.
For the youngsters that want to get out there and the father that wants to take his littles out to see Bevo Boulevard, the answer is 8:45 is when you cheer on the Texas football team at the stadium. The official team arrival, line up on the north side of Bevo Boulevard beginning at noon, and then the stadium gates will open at 9 o'clock.
There you go. There you go.
There you go.
Nice.
8:45.
Thank you, people. Good job.
That says USC shouldn't be ranked at all. Well, potentially, but if they keep playing defense like, because remember they beat Cal last week 50-49.
Yeah, their defense shouldn't be ranked. Their offense is legit. So they'll be knocked out of the rankings. They lose again.
It says FSU, Florida State is a fraud. Well, I don't know. Florida State beat LSU. Florida State beat Clemson. Florida State.
Strong word for a team with such a strong resume.
There's
fraud.
and a
You can
6-year
say
quarterback.
you mean flawed?
He said fraud.
Flawed, I think is more the term. Fraud? I don't know about fraud.
Okay.
I would say flawed because every team is flawed. No doubt. Teams like USC, they have a tragic flaw. I mean, one of their phases is one of the weakest
You
phases.
said it. I mean,
Texas has flaws. Their red zone offense is bad. Flawed. Short yardage.
Well, and I
Oh,
keep hearing
goal
people say
line,
that
bad.
Lincoln Riley is letting Alex Grinch bring down his name, but at the same time, this is on you, Lincoln. At this point, this is your defense, brother.
Yeah.
This is your program. This is your defense.
That's true.
And it's not good.
Yeah.
On that side of the ball.
You got to own that.
Hey, we'll come back. When we do, Rod will take us behind the BOC. Sark v. Chris Kleiman. It's a coach's game here. I mean, you got a backup quarterback at home against a very good team. This game, it seems to me, is on Sark to have a great game plan, call a great game, navigate his young quarterback through a difficult team that is beatable, but you got to make plays when they're there and not make mistakes. We come back with that, plus off the record before the end of the hour from the home studio in South Austin. It's Hook 'em Up with Ian Rodby.
Here in the 8 o'clock hour.
All right, Texas versus K-State. Everybody is excited about this matchup, as well they should be. This is a big matchup for Texas, but also a big matchup for Sark because, Sark in this situation, he's ascending right now. I think this is we talked about this. This is a year where Sark's going to either confirm or shatter the narrative about him. If you're a Sark fan, he's probably going to confirm. If they end up winning the Big 12, he's a championship level coach. But if Sark obviously underachieves with this really talented team, there'll be people out there who say, "I told you so." Sark has always been a coach that underachieves, right? He can never win the big game, can never, win double digits, can never win the conference, that kind of thing. And this is one of those games, and he talked about it too, where Sark's going to have to outcoach Chris Kleiman. I brought up the fact that if you're looking at, just advantages based on this matchup, it'd be hard to say that Chris Kleiman didn't have the coaching advantage. Now, you can make the argument that Sark has, accomplished a lot this year. So if you want to say it's a push and a draw on the coaching matchup between Texas and K-State, you could say that. But there's no doubt K-State having two quarterbacks, including a veteran starting quarterback in Will Howard and Avery Johnson, the heir apparent, and Texas having their backup quarterback gives them a quarterback advantage in this matchup. And that's a huge advantage in football, as we all know. So Sark's going to make up for that, and he's going to make up for that by making sure that his young quarterback is playing at a really high level in his second start and making sure that this offense is operating at its maximum effectiveness. And that means him figuring out how to conquer the dreaded three high, three down defense, right? Which is three down linemen, three high safeties. And it is the most malleable of all the kind of defensive presentations that are utilized these days. And Sark's offenses have had trouble versus the three high, three down. I got into this earlier, but I'll spare you all the numbers and just give you the facts. If you go look at Sark's offenses in the last 2+ years in the Big 12 versus these three high defenses, which, it basically was popularized here in the Big 12, created in the Big 12. Oklahoma State's the first documented a rep or action of that I documented, I could see of the three high, three down being used in the Big 12, and then Iowa State takes it to another level, and then they popularize it, and now you got K-State running it, you got TCU that runs it, Iowa State runs it, and every team has it now pretty much in their repertoire, even teams in the NFL, but some teams, they major or minor in it. It is part of their defensive DNA. Those teams who have utilized it a lot versus Texas and made it a part of their defensive DNA, and they do it as well, if not better than anybody in the country. And by the way, Sark's about to embark on that run of K-State, TCU, Iowa State, those teams. His passing yards, his offenses, different quarterbacks, right? We're talking about 2021, 22, and this season, so different quarterbacks. Passing yards for Sark offenses drop versus three high defenses. Third down percentage drops actually from 45.9% versus other defenses in third down percentage to 36% versus three high defenses in his third down conversion percentage. Touchdown interception ratio drops tremendously from about 5.5 touchdowns to one every interception to about 2 touchdowns for every interception versus three high defenses. Points per game, you're talking about a little bit of an 8-point difference, all right, based on the analysis I have of versus three high defenses compared to Sark's averages. But if you look at three high defenses versus other defenses, you're talking about close to a 2 touchdown difference in Sark's productivity, efficiency, and scoring as opposed to when he faces other defenses who run different presentations of single high or the 2 high defense. So there's no doubt statistically, analytically, Sark's teams are less effective, less efficient, less explosive versus these three high defenses. And the reason why, and we got into this, but it's pretty simple. Basically, these three high defenses, they force you to have to process everything post-snap for the quarterback. Everything is processed post-snap for the QB because it's really good at distorting the pre-snap read, disguising the pre-snap read. And that's why the passing game suffers versus the 3-high, because most quarterbacks are operating post-snap. That's why Quinn Ewers versus U of H ran a lot of 3-high. What did he do? He dumped it down. Dump it down when they're running a lot of 3-high. When you're not sure about it, let's just check it down. Sark's offenses have averaged over 7 yards per attempt 20 times since he's been the head coach and play caller at Texas in the last 2+ years. Only 3 of those 20 times have been versus 3-high 3-down defenses. So the passing game suffers. The reason it's good versus the running game is because there are different angles and there are different ways that the defense is going to adjust to the run fit. As a defensive coordinator once told me, just because there are 6 guys in the box doesn't mean there are just 6 guys in the run fit. So you can have a lot of different guys in the run fit, but the offense doesn't guys are coming from because the defense is so malleable, which is going to screw up the blocking scheme because they're not sure who to block, because they're not sure where they're coming from, and they're not sure exactly who has what assignment in the blocking scheme. So that also confuses the run blocking a little bit too. So it works really well, and a lot of it is, like I said, the unique quality is the disguise and the distortion. So how do you combat it? I think Sark has figured out how to combat it, and I think other teams have too. First of all, go look at Oklahoma State's win over K-State this year. In Mike Gundy, we talked about how brilliant Mike Gundy is. Remember Mike Gundy, Oklahoma State, he was running the 3-high before everybody else, and with Jim Knowles there, who just went to Ohio State 2 years ago or a couple of years ago, and now they have one of the best defenses in the country running the 3-high 3-down defense. Now they're at Ohio State. When he faced that very same defense, he knows it intimately. This season, they ran a lot of 3-by-1 sets, trips to one side. All right, 3 receivers to one side, a single receiver to the other side. A lot of it. And they ran the football a ton out of those 3-by-1 sets, sometimes to the single receiver side or to the nub tight end side, or sometimes to the trip side. And Ollie Gordon was just a man-possessed versus them. I went and watched the Missouri game. All right, Missouri beat them, but they beat them throwing the football through the air. But they also ran a lot of empty formation and a lot of 3-by-1 set, trips to one side, single receivers to the other side. They actually had 5 20+ yard plays through the air, running in 3-by-1 sets. Here's why 3-by-1 sets work, because 3-by-1 sets are extreme formations. And my belief is, for the last 2 years studying the 3-high 3-down, is you have to be extreme in your presentation offensively, whether it be personnel grouping or extreme in your formation, to force the 3-high to declare itself. Its number one strength as a defensive concept is its malleability, ability to distort and disguise the pre-snap read of the quarterback and to disguise the run fits. When you are extreme in your presentation offensively, they have to counter that by getting to their alignment and assignment right away, therefore abandoning their disguise and distortion and revealing what the coverage is and what the front's going to be. That's why you saw Oklahoma State do it, you saw Missouri do it, and that's the 3-by-1 set represents that. But empty formation represents it too. I went and clocked last season. I went and looked at last season and Texas out of empty formation versus the 3-high 3-down defense, and I found some really, really interesting numbers. And I went and looked at also, when I looked at the 3-high 3-down defense, I went and looked at the 6-0 line package versus the 3-high 3-down defense. This is from last season, and I found some really interesting numbers. And the fact of the matter is, if you look at the 3-high 3-down defense last season, Texas, when they deployed the 6-0 line package, Texas averaged over 6.5 yards per rush versus the 3-high 3-down. And why you say that? Well, because the 3-high, when you're coming with such extreme amount of mass at the point of attack, 6 offensive linemen, and Texas averaging 325 pounds per man on the offensive line, you're talking about damn near 2,000 pounds of mass. You better make sure that you get your alignment assignment. You better not be late to your run fits when those guys can get to the second level. You better make sure that you're handling your run responsibilities right away, because it's an extreme situation, a more urgent situation when Texas is in that heavy personnel, and that's why I think Texas had a lot of success running the football. And a lot of teams will tell you that the best course of action versus the 3-high 3-down is just to run the football. Take the quarterback out of it, because your quarterback has to deal with the confusion of the pre-snap disguise and then the post-snap
in-depth dissection and deciphering what the defense is doing. Don't worry about that. Just run the football against them, because most of the time they're working with 3 down linemen. You're going to have the numbers advantage and the girth and the mass advantage. So 6 point, actually it was close to 6.8 yards per rush in 6-0 line package last season versus 3 down defense. Empty sets last season too. I wouldn't clock that as well. You were under 60% completion percentage out of empty formation versus 3 out 3 down, but that's not the number I paid attention to. You were over 50% first down touchdown rate out of empty formation versus 3 high 3 down defenses. Why? It's an extreme formation. It forces you to abandon your disguise and distortion and get to your alignment and assignment right away, because if you're late on empty, boom, they're going to hit a quick hitter, and that can go for a big chunk yardage play. So these extreme sets, and I think Sark knows this because he loves the 6-0 line package and he likes empty, these extreme sets and formations and personal groupings will force that defense to declare itself, and then once it declares itself, you'll get better indicators about what your blocking assignments are and what coverage they're in. That's the key.
Love the idea. I've heard you say the empties before in the 6-0 line package, and then even the trips to either side.
The 3-by-1 sets work
to force them to declare because that was a nice one too. All right, we'll be watching that on Saturday, and you're going to have to execute that with a backup quarterback. But Malik Murphy said now 2 weeks of practice to implement. I love what I really liked is when you mentioned the trips to one side and then Ollie Gordon running out of that.
Oh, he did a ton of it.
I mean, you have an offensive line and a running back in Jonathan Brooks who should be able to flourish in a similar way if you can copycat some of that stuff. And they won that game. And another part of the reason they won that game 29-21 in Stillwater was Ollie Gordon had a big game running the ball, but they also forced 3 Will Howard turnovers.
That was big.
Interceptions in that game.
Yep.
And this is what Texas will deal with on Saturday, 11 a.m. That's good stuff behind BOC. Coming back, we'll go off the record. I'll tell you who I think the Ranger rookie Evan Carter looks like. I'm even more convinced now that I looked him up. Also, Rod, we've got a former NBA #1 overall pick is not real happy because his wife apparently has an OnlyFans account that he didn't know about.
Oh, come on,
That's
man.
a problem.
That
Details
is a problem.
coming on.
Come on. Viking.
and Ron B is brought to you by Viking Fence. When you think fences, think Viking Fence.
Gutu.
Congratulations. Continue good sex in the Big East. Thank you, Pete. And for those of Dynamite. Time for another edition of Off the Record. Going live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Oh man, it is doesn't suck today. We got good stuff. It's going to be in about 60 degrees today. A little frost on the pumpkin this morning, coming off of Halloween. Hope you had a great trick or treating adventure last night.
Oh yeah.
Oh man,
I still got candy left over.
we got a whole batch. We only had like 2 people come by last night.
No, something happened, man. I think COVID might have killed Halloween for the most part.
Oh no, there were a bunch of people up front of our neighborhood.
What, really?
Our neighborhood gets up. I mean, turns out a lot of people come to the front of our neighborhood from other neighborhoods.
You just like hang out, have a block party?
I guess. Well, yeah, there are block parties in our hood, but we live back here in the back. You have to drive through here to get to us every morning, Rod, because we are still from the home studios. By the way, the cameras are up and running, so we're back on Twitch. We're back on YouTube. You can watch the show.
That's right.
I think we've got the audio problems we were dealing with earlier solved, but yeah, we have the cameras up from the home South Austin Onion Creek studio. Bring it to you live and having fun with you. Hey, Rod, off the record, I've been watching this Evan Carter play baseball for the Rangers. I've been trying to think, who does that guy look like? He looks just like somebody.
You said you found his doppelganger.
I finally hit me last night because I saw him without his hat on in the dugout. Did you watch the show Boardwalk Empire?
I did, yeah. Back in the day.
He looks like an actor named Josh Houston who played the character Richard Harrow, who was the sniper. Remember him? He was the sharpshooter.
Yes, I do remember
And if
him.
you Google an actor, a British actor named Jack Houston, Huston, you'll say, you know
You
what?
went deep on that one, didn't you?
Well, because it's just been bothering me. It's one because I knew it wasn't somebody super famous. He also kind of looks like Kevin Harvick, the NASCAR driver. But if you look up Kevin, Jack, he wasn't even the guy. I've never seen him in anything else. But it was like that's who he looks like, is the dang guy from
Now I gotta
Boardwalk
Google that.
Empire.
I thought you were going to say like a well-known actor.
No.
I don't know who that dude is.
It was just the look, his smile, and then just because he was such a good character in Boardwalk Empire because he was creepy, and he had to put on half a face. Remember he had to put his face on.
That was pretty. That was actually a cool character.
Yes, and that's my man Evan Carter.
Evan
Carter out of Tennessee. Hey, what do you have, Rod, for us in Off the Record this morning?
How about this? A second teacher at a small Missouri high school has landed in trouble with some of the parents at that school and with some of the decision makers in the school district for supplementing her income by having an OnlyFans account. Yeah, that's right. Apparently, she had some adult content on her OnlyFans. I guess you can have an OnlyFans account, just can't have the adult content if you're a teacher. A student slipped a note under her classroom door that read, quote, "Knew your secret." I think it's meant know.
Even know.
I know. So maybe maybe she's not a great teacher.
She said, "Oh, sugar."
Yes. I remember the report here is wrong. That's the way they said. So there was a written note that was slipped under her door that basically told her that they knew exactly what she was up to in her off time. And Megan Gaither, 31 years old, an English teacher and varsity cheerleading coach at St. Clair High School, told the Post that she was put on leave Friday after her moonlighting job, where she was probably mooning some folks.
Hey, you remember, speaking of OnlyFans, the OS, you remember the former...
Her colleague, Brianna Coppage, former freshman and sophomore English teacher at the same school, recently resigned because of the very same issue. So maybe most people, these teachers are really hot at this school. Gotta tell you, my hot teacher theory is actually hanging.
Well, look, that's what when you start doing that and realize how much money you can make instead of dealing with you people's kids, it's a lot better. You make a lot more money, and you don't have to leave your house.
Come on now.
But how about this? Ex-NBA player Joe Smith, remember him? He was the first pick of the draft out of Maryland back in the day?
Yeah.
Well, his wife, Keisha Chavez, went on a TMZ live show yesterday to address a now viral video that revealed that she has an OnlyFans account.
Oh,
man. Joe Smith didn't know about it. They've been married for 13 years.
13 years?
She says it was not a selfish decision. She said that during COVID, it really took a hit on their income. She felt like Joe got into a bad mental place because he went for first pick overall to not making any money, not having a job. And so she had been a singer and an actress before when they met.
Oh, okay.
So she was like, well, I got to do something to bring in some income to the house.
How much income is she bringing in? That's the question I have. How much money is she actually making on this thing?
Well, they make pretty good money.
So if she's making good money on it,
She
then
says she
it's
believes
worth it.
Joe fell into depression after going from top pick to jobless.
Well, anybody would.
So she
Fall from grace.
she made the decision. She's been running the. Now he found out about it and he moved out. She hopes that she can salvage the relationship. She hopes I think she went on this TMZ live to like make a bid to him that hey, I
need you
didn't do
back.
this. I did it for us. I did it for us.
Okay.
We needed the money.
So it definitely was adult content, though.
Oh,
Well, that's the only thing that
Isn't
sells
everything on OnlyFans?
I know.
what are they
I'm
doing?
sure-
Like gardening?
I'm sure there's somebody on OnlyFans that's doing some
Let me show you how to bake cookies.
PG-13 content on there or something. Maybe NC-17. I don't know. But yeah, your wife should tell you if you're doing OnlyFans. She should. That's probably something you share with your partner.
Yeah,
Come on.
probably so.
You got to do that.
Hey,
Come
honey,
on now.
I became a stripper and didn't tell you.
Exactly. I'm going to need you to share that information.
Hey, we're back. We've got 2 hours to go on a busy Wednesday. Hook 'em up with Ian Rodby.
Guess the horn appeared courtesy of the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina Hotline. Vaqueros now delivers and offers curbside pickup. For info on placing your lunch or dinner order, visit vaqueroscafe.com. Hook 'em up with E and Rod B. Brought to you by Bud Light on the Horn.
Hey, coming up, we've got our setlist ATX. Our man Nick Shuley will join us, the president of the Austin Music Movement. Where are you going to be moving to see some great music this upcoming weekend, starting tonight? Also, always recap what's going on. That Black Pumas album is out and doing well. Also, Rod will debate again, did the Cowboys make a mistake not making a trade at the deadline? Maybe acquire a Derrick Henry or a corner. Depth. Seems like every other contender in the NFC did something to bolster their team. The Eagles and Lions, Niners, and Seahawks all made pretty significant moves.
I mean, the assumption in that logic is that they're perfect. Like, we like our guys. Like, we love – so you have no holes on your roster? The 49ers said they had holes on their rosters. The Eagles said we had holes on our roster. Every other contender in the NFC, every playoff team in the NFC right now, except the Cowboys, thought – yeah, we got holes on our roster. We need to. Hey, if it's a big move, great. If not, we got to get better. We got to upgrade.
Well, it's the second straight year the Niners have made a big move, right? They got Christian McCaffrey last year, which was a huge piece, and now Chase Young to go with Nick Bosa and Eric Armstead and
stockpiling pass
Javon Hargraves on that defense.
Kinlaw is on that D-line.
I mean, that's a good get. I mean, Cowboys are good, but Eagles picked up Kevin Byard, the all-pro safety. Seahawks picked up Leonard Hamilton, the defensive end, defensive tackle. Of course, even the Lions.
Leonard Williams, right?
What's that? Leonard Williams.
Yeah.
Even the Lions went and got Donovan Peoples-Jones, who I think is a pretty good ball player, to even fortify their receiver core around Amon-Ra St. Brown. So, making moves. Cowboys did not. There was a lot of talk about Derrick Henry and some smoke around that, but Jerry was true to his word. By the way, it's he said we're not looking to move anybody, but it doesn't mean it's the right move, right? It's criticizable. But also, in addition to that, we've got the college football playoff rankings revealed last night. Ohio State number 1, followed by Georgia, Michigan, and then Florida State. Texas is sitting at 7. The second highest ranked one-loss team behind Oregon. And they've, as we said all morning and all night last night when this came out, Longhorns can't worry about that. They got to worry about their games, which begin Saturday, and it's a tough one. Maybe the toughest game remaining on their schedule is this red-hot Kansas State football team. They were ranked 23rd in last night's inaugural college football playoff rankings. And they have been on a heater. They got off to a start where they had 2 losses, one at Missouri, then they turned around and lost in Stillwater. But have really dominated the month of October since that loss to Oklahoma State. They're 82-3 their last 2 games, and found something with a 2-quarterback system. With that in mind, let's go to the Vaqueros hotline. And whenever we talk K-State football, always great to go to right to the top, talk to one of the best. He is the publisher of Go Power Cat on the 24/7 Sports Network. He is a radio host. He's a sports writer, knows those K-State Wildcats. He is Tim Fitzgerald. Tim, good morning. How are you? We're great, man. This is going to be a fun game, 11 a.m. on Saturday. Give us your thoughts on this K-State team. Won the Big 12 a year ago, bring a lot of guys back, but early, didn't look like the team. But as usual with the Chris Kleiman team, it's safe to say they're getting better as the weeks go by.
Yeah, you're right. They weren't a very good team when they played Missouri, but they weren't a complete product. I like to play that again. See what would happen because the secondary was, pieced back together. They lost both corners in the NFL, they lost safety to the NFL, but they had some rebuilding to do. Luther Burden and company in Missouri took advantage of that, and that's a good Missouri team. Then you go to Oklahoma State. Hey, Oklahoma State stinks. They're going to blow Oklahoma State. I think State deserves too much of it. I don't know what kind of do Mike Gundy works in the off week, but that's a different team now than before the off week. They've been rolling ever since. In case it just was flat as a should have kicked the team in a long time, dude. And what's the switch? I think in the second half at Texas Tech, they fell behind 21-17. 2 freshman quarterback Dave Johnson kind of got it going. Now Will Howard is
kind of asserting himself since then. But since that moment when they fell behind in Lubbock, they've outscored their opponents 103-3. And it's just been a really dominant phase of football. But against teams that aren't named the Texas Longhorns. So that's the issue here. You got CPU and Houston 30 and 82-3 over those two games, but Texas is a whole different story in that part early Saturday morning.
Hey, Tim, it seems like that K-State obviously has the quarterback advantage in this matchup because Texas will have the backup quarterback in, and K-State has multiple quarterbacks available, including a veteran in Will Howard. Talk about this quarterback rotation and exactly what determines when they work these rotations for Avery Johnson and for Will Howard, and what does each quarterback bring to the table?
First game in a couple seasons now, with 2-3 interceptions. Turns out they weren't all his fault. He was having issues with his receivers being on the same page and doing the right thing. So, but still, the team was flat. He was flat. Didn't perform well. They probably should have put Avery Johnson in at that point to try to get the run game going with it. And they did it. Texas threw him in the game and ran for touchdown. Threw him in the game and ran for touchdown. Getting that game, his first significant playing time at K-State. He played a little bit of Missouri and a little bit in the season opener. But this is his first large amount of playing time. He tied the school record with 5 rushing touchdowns, led by his offense coordinator, Colin Klein. He's the fastest guy on the team. He's a brilliant runner. But that defense made it look really easy, too. So, they came back home, so even those two literally rotated every other snap, every other possession, which was awkward to see, but it was really effective. And at the end of the day, Will played better than Avery, but it wasn't that huge gap. Go into last week's game, Will Howard just wouldn't let Avery on the field. He had multiple touchdowns, and when they put Avery out, they had a bad exchange on a handoff, and luckily, the K-State defense slowed up when Houston took over for 26. And we didn't see much of Avery clicking, and later when it was a blowout, it looked good. But Will Howard was brilliant in his game against Houston. I think he completed 15 or 17 passes. So, as much as we talk about the quarterback, the running backs are doing a lot of work too, and the offensive line has been really dominant. That's freed up the quarterback to do some good work.
I want to talk about those running backs because coming into the year, Treshawn Ward, the Florida State transfer, got the headlines. But DJ Giddens has been the leading rusher by a lot. He's been the main ball carrier for this team when it's not Avery Johnson at quarterback. But Tim, that offensive line, the one thing we talked about here in Austin is the matchup between the interior of the K-State O-line with Cooper Beebe and those guys against this Texas interior, which is as good as any in the country. They've gone toe-to-toe with the likes of Alabama and held their own. I mean, Tavondre Sweat and Byron Murphy. This is a heck of a matchup, mano-a-mano, O-line versus the Texas D-line, which is really, really good, too.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It's going to come down to, can K-State build any semblance of a run game? Because almost nobody's run with consistent success against the Texas front. And the running backs are a nice little combo in different styles. DJ Giddens has the reputation of being more between the tackles. He's a little bit bigger. You've got Dufon as your running back. Anyone's bigger. Treshawn Ward's bigger than Dufon. DJ's really effective in getting off the first contact. He gets a lot of yardage after contact. And Treshawn's a version of Deuce. He's a little guy that kind of can get lost in traffic and makes the moves. But he was out for a little bit. He got injured at Missouri, and DJ took over that UCF game when everyone found out that UCF can't tackle, which is an important part of football. I don't know if they know that. They can't tackle. He went for 200 plus against UCF and just chewed them up pretty good. But they're a fun combination, and DJ's a really likable kid. These K-State football. 2-star kid out of Junction City, Kansas, 20 minutes down the road, is now really taking control of the running back job at Kansas State.
Hey, Jim, let me ask you about the defense. They lost some good players. You brought this up earlier. Lost some good players on defense. Julius Brent's a good player. Felix Nudike Uzoma, a good player for them. The defense has recovered, it seems, after that Missouri game. Got a chance to watch that Missouri game, and Missouri lit them up, throwing it a ton through the air, make some big flash plays through the air. And you talked about Oklahoma State already, able to run the football really effectively versus K-State. But since then, they look like a different defense. What have they done to adjust?
Well, they swapped some safeties. You got Kobe Savage and CJ Payne, two really good safeties, and they were both kind of playing different positions this year. And they swapped them, and it's really worked well. It's helped to fortify the back end because Kobe kind of helped get everyone lined up a little bit. And that's exactly what was going on. And just the back end of the defense was a little bit disorganized early in the season. They've lost middle linebacker Daniel Green. I remember 2 years ago being in Texas after that dreadful performance by K-State in which Texas beat them without a quarterback. It's kind of important part of football too. And I asked Daniel Green if he was going to come back the next year. We thought he was going to go to the NFL. He said, "No, I'm coming back." And we asked him after the Super Bowl last year, and he wasn't coming back. But he came back to get a clean season without an injury, and he got injured against Missouri, and he found for the year. So they got a two freshman middle linebacker in there, which is a position to keep an eye on for K-State. He's done well, but again, not against the Texas Longhorns. So, this is going to be a real challenge. K-State needs to find a way to, it's all about, to me, it's all about the run game, and who can establish the run to help their quarterback and help their offense is really going to be at a big advantage. And that would appear to be Texas as the advantage in that scenario. So
he is Tim Fitzgerald, the publisher, Go Power Cat, on the 24/7 Sports Network, also an author and writer and radio host up there. Now, Texas has struggled in their own secondary at times against Oklahoma and against Houston, even against Alabama. Their safeties can get caught in coverage, but it doesn't look to me, just looking at the stats, that K-State is that dynamic through the air. I mean, Phillip Brooks is their leading receiver, number 8. He's at about 55 yards a game. Their second leading receiver is a tight end, Ben Sinnott, who we've seen over many years. DJ Giddens, the running back, is number 3. So is this a passing game that can threaten what has been a weakness of Texas at times, is their back end?
That's a great question. It's a really valid question. K-State receivers just aren't that dynamic. They really aren't. They lean heavily on assistance from the tight end spot. They had catches last couple of weeks by 3 different tight ends. But Ben Sinnott's the main guy. He always was his fullback. He's an H-back tight end. And they throw to the running backs a lot. DJ Giddens, took a screen pass to the house against TCU. I credit a good play call and a dreadful performance for the TCU defense, but they kind of sprayed all over the field. This is an ongoing problem for K-State. And I mentioned that Will Howard had problems with receivers running long routes and doing things inefficiently at Oklahoma State. Well, they got in a true freshman. They put him into the core, rotation of Jace Brown, and he's been helpful. He gets open. This is another basic thing of football for the receiver. Get away from the guy trying to cover you. And they haven't done that very well. So it is an issue. Phillip Brooks was great last week. I mean, he had 5 targets, 5 catches, and a touchdown. And this is an area. But without a running game, K-State can't put the ball effectively. There you go. That's the issue.
There you go. Anything else, Rod?
Did you bring up Jace Brown? Recently, I've noticed that he's getting a lot more playing time with the wide receiving core. Yeah. Okay. Is he considered a more dynamic player?
By K-State standards, yes. In terms of receiver play, they just really aren't as dynamic. They brought Keegan Johnson from Iowa, and he was expected to be the guy at receiver. He's been in and out of the training room all season long.
Okay.
Didn't play last week. So they now have some other freshmen, some other young guys showing up in the depth chart. So who knows what we'll see at receiver, but
Whoever can catch and run with the football will be helpful to K-State.
Catch and run. Hey, Tim, that's the overview we were looking for. We appreciate it. Know you're busy, and look forward to a good game on Saturday, and hopefully we'll see you down there. Texas and K-State coming up Saturday, 11 o'clock. Tim Fitzgerald, go Power Cat. You can find him, of course, doing great work covering these. Doing for a long. How long have you been covering K-State, Tim? It's been a long time. It's at Life of Fitz on Twitter, which is a great Twitter handle.
Yeah, I think I'm at 29 years on the beat.
Wow.
So some of the beat writers were born.
Yeah.
It always sneaks up on you guys. Always like that hindsight blip. All of a sudden, holds all over you.
Hey, trust me. I'm 50 this year, Tim. I get it. I'm with you. At Life of Fitz on Twitter, and great stuff with Tim Fitzgerald. Whenever we talk K-State, we talk to Tim. Thank you, Tim. Have a great week.
Thanks, Tim.
All right, so there you go, Rod. I
great.
mean, that was good. I mean, look, they're not dynamic. They're just physical and efficient.
They are, and
That's-
it's all about the running game because, he's right about their wide receivers. We tried to warn you guys about the U of H wide receivers. Like we told you, like they're dynamic, man. They don't have a lot of things going on with those receivers. They can go. They're twitchy and fast on the outside. So was Oklahoma. Receivers were twitchy and fast. The receivers for BYU were not twitchy and fast. They were more possession, big receivers. And these receivers aren't necessarily twitchy and fast. They got one, that's Brooks, but the rest of them, I think they match, or Texas matches up well with those types of receivers.
Well, and guess what? I mean, we got a lot of these messages, and it's a fair question. Like, how did Donovan Smith torch Texas, and then they go to K-State, and he didn't do anything? Well, he played that game without Manjack and without Sam Brown.
Exactly.
All they were down to Matthew Golden.
Two of the four good receivers they got. Yeah.
And so when a team like Houston doesn't have a lot else, you lose two of the four most dynamic players on your team.
You can double team the rest of them.
Yeah, now you
can
can
bracket 'em.
really go after Matthew Golden and then the walk-on kid. And they don't have a running game. Houston doesn't have a running game, so that was a bad situation for them. So, and that's why we talk about, well, one game doesn't equal the next. I mean, how do you torch Texas? Well, they had everybody healthy at receiver. They were coming off 10 days off. They installed a new defense, and it threw Texas for a bit of a loop. Then Texas's quarterback got hurt.
Exactly.
All that happens in a game, right? And you just mentioned the Texas Tech game that they were in a dogfight, and Will Howard's playing poorly after he had played poorly against Oak State, and Chris Kleiman says, "Get this kid in there.
Get in there.
Get this kid in there."
And now he's mentioning that now Will Howard's playing some of his best football because there's also the competitive nature in players, and he knows his job's now, not only on the line, but you just watch this young man go out here and ball out. So you're watching the heir apparent who's about to take your job, and then he starts staying later, and then he starts making better decisions, and he starts playing better. That's what competition will do too.
Yeah.
Trust me, Tom Brady dealt with it a lot. That's why Bill Belichick kept drafting quarterbacks behind him. He always thought, if he's got somebody on his, that basically is competing with him and that he believes that is threatening to take his spot, psychologically, there are some players that are built different. They're built with that competitive sickness. Brady was one. I'm not saying Will Howard's son Brady, but I'm saying psychologically, some athletes are built like that. They need somebody threatening their job to bring out the best in them.
Well, and Will Howard might be that guy. And
like
Chris Kleiman, and that stat that he threw out is pretty incredible. If you take the second half of Tech and then their last two games, so 2.5 games, they've outscored their opponents 103-3.
And mostly with Will Howard.
Mostly with Will Howard because it lit his fire. But in that Texas Tech game, Avery Johnson scored 5 touchdowns.
Change up, baby. He was the
Change up. He was the speed. And that's the thing. And they're not going to get the dynamic playmakers on the outside. You just heard that, but it's going to come from their quarterbacks and their running backs. And so you're going to have to deal with that. And, that means receivers in the flat. That means little quick passes out to the wings. The best receiver they have is a kid named Austin Moore. Check that. Their best receiver is a guy. We just talked to him about it.
Yeah.
Phillip Brooks. Phillip Brooks, and he's at 50 yards a game. 50 yards a game. That's their leading receiver.
Yeah.
Their tight end H-back is their second leading receiver.
Yeah,
So
Ben Snow he actually is the favorite receiver of the quarterbacks.
well,
of
this
Will
is
Howard.
why both coaches
when
have
they
said
use
this
him.
for Texas and this seems really rudimentary, but he who wins first down will probably win this game. They're not flashy and dynamic, but they're physical and efficient. So they're going to try to say, why are they 56% on third down? Because they moved the ball for 3-4 yards on first down, 3-4 yards on second down. Now it's 3rd and 2.
Very manageable.
Now you got play action, you got quarterback run game, you got a lot of different things you can do. If Texas can make them 2nd and 3rd and long, they don't have you can cover those guys, and then your pass rush can get home. and you can start creating some opportunities. This is big for Texas to win first and second down, but it's equally big the other way, because what you don't want to do for Texas is put Malik Murphy in second and third and long. Now, he has more weapons, and Sark's got more creativity, and he can do more with his skill players, try to create some mismatches than K-State can, but you don't want a young quarterback in that spot against a very opportunistic defense like Kansas State, who's allowed in the last 2.5 games 3 points. 3 points. So efficient, not flashy. Physical, but physical still wins football games, Rob.
Oh yeah, you just said it. That, third downs period, because they're so good. And Texas actually is really good.
Texas
on
number
third
one.
down.
Texas top 5 in the country in third down get off.
You're talking about top 5 teams both in third down offense for K-State, third down defense for Texas. So you could argue that could be the game in a nutshell. I think for Texas, how they attack the quarterback running game. Yes, this team wants to run the football, and they got a good crop of running backs. But what really makes their running game so unique, I believe, it may be the most diverse quarterback run game in the Big 12. Kansas got a really good quarterback running game too, but this is one of the most diverse quarterback run games in the country.
Yep.
They run every type of quarterback design run you can think of.
Well, and I wouldn't be
with both of their
surprised,
quarterbacks.
and I haven't watched enough tape like you have, Rod. I wouldn't be surprised to see Avery Johnson on the field with Will Howard. And
They do that.
they do it
Yeah,
quite a bit.
they do that a lot already.
Yeah.
They put them both up field together, and then they'll use Avery Johnson as like a jet sweep receiver.
Fastest player on the
put
team.
him in motion, and they're working on a double pass of some kind when they got those two guys on the field together, because Avery Johnson actually can't threaten you with jet sweep speed.
Yeah.
He's that fast.
4-4 guy, legit. All right, we'll come back. When we do, it is the set list ATX. Somebody said any World Series talk? Oh, yeah, we'll talk World Series and the Rangers. A win away from a championship for the first time in franchise history. Cowboys, where they regret not being more active yesterday. All things we're talking about, plus before the end of the hour. Who said that? Coming next, set list ATX.
Well, we've wrapped up pretty much most of the issues in Williamson County. I-30
We're going to go. Then normally that after the game, right? If it's an 11 o'clock game, they do a show after, regardless of the outcome of the football game. And the weather's going to be great. That's going to be a great day to be outside all day. Temperatures look like they're right around 78 for a high, probably 70 kickoff. Did you make it out to Gary Clark last week? Did you get to take in some of the show? Oh.
Nice.
Man, you do what you got to do.
Oh, yeah, you better put in the work. Yeah, yeah. You know what team matters the most. Yeah, exactly.
Any cool NIL activity we need to know about, Nick Shuley? Anything going on? I know during the season it's harder, but other sports too. We know basketball's cranking up with RT and Vic Schaefer. Volleyball's in full swing. Anything we need to know? A little quiet. Okay. It won't be quiet tonight at Moody Center. That's where our Setlist ATX launches. Best shows of the week, according to Nick Shuley. Moody Center tonight, they booked such a great room there. I mean, it's a different show every night, but what are we going with tonight? Give me your thoughts on John Mayer. People, girls love him, right? Because your body is a wonderland.
Hey, I love John Mayer too. What do you say?
Well, that's what I'm saying. He crosses over, right? He's not.
I like John Mayer too.
He's a very. He's a lot of girls love him. Guys want to be him. But he can play the guitar, man. That's one of the premier guitar players in the world, right there. That's hilarious. He's got the sense of humor. He can play music. He's a crooner. That's why girls love him, right? He's got this list of former girlfriends. And know what I always remember? Like, if you could have a girlfriend pay you a compliment. Remember when he dated Jessica Simpson?
Yeah.
And she said they were like sexual napalm. Or he was like sexual napalm. Is there a better compliment?
Nah.
It's like, damn. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
When he was running through the girls.
Yeah, he's a player.
Way to go, playa. All right, John Mayer tonight, Moody Center. That'll be a blast. Thursday night, a good list of good shows. Nice. Emos, okay. Arizona, full all caps, right? Makes sense. Are you a fan of jam bands, Rod? Do you like jam bands? My wife hates them.
Sure
My
what
wife
a
hates
jam
them.
band is.
It's like, Dave Matthews sometimes gets accused of the string cheese incident. Grateful Dead. They just go. Allman Brothers they go on and on and on, like 12-minute songs. They jam.
Oh, okay.
The lyrics stop and they jam.
Now, are they like? Is this like freestyle and improv? Are we talking like jazz type stuff, where they're just going off, or are we talking about they actually have music they're playing the whole time? Okay.
A lot of improv.
Okay. All right. Okay. Nice. That's pretty cool. I'm not opposed to that.
My wife wants to leave when that happens. So can we get to the lyrics, please?
Can
She
you
likes to sing along.
Just play the notes.
Yeah.
Nice. I didn't know that was a thing. There you go.
Yeah, it is. Well, I remember when I told you I saw the Black Crowes when they were first coming on, and they were such a great band. And then I started dating my wife, and I said, "You got to see the Black Crowes. You're gonna love them." And it just so happened that they were in their Chris Robinson "We Want to Be the Grateful Dead" jam band phase, where they didn't play any of their hits. She knew their songs. They didn't play any of their hits.
She's like, what?
And they just were jamming. I was like, "What?" We were. It was scorching hot. It was out at that place. It's where the Hill Country Galleria is now.
Awesome.
The back room or whatever that place was called.
Yeah.
Backyard. And it was just like torture. I wanted to hear their hits.
Everybody wants to hear the hits.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Hey. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that was mid-90s. All right. So we have String Cheese Incident Stubbs, couple nights, Thursday and Friday. What else on? And Saturday. Okay. So we have 3 nights at Stubbs for the String Cheese, which are a jam band. They're a Deep South team, right? Or team band. They got like a South Alabama or Mississippi, something like that. Yeah, yeah. And that guy can sing, man. Oh my gosh. Como Las Movies at Waterloo Records on Friday. And those usually start like 5, 6 o'clock, right, when they do the in-stores? Cool. Well, you used to work at Waterloo Records. Here you go, Nick. See, the man about town. Oh, cool. All right, at the Hot Spot on Friday night, another band you'll know. Manya. That wraps up our Friday and Saturday. St. Paul and the Broken Bones are back at Paramount. Highly recommended. Also on Saturday night out at HEB Center at Cedar Park, Nick.
Nice.
They do, and My friend Gino's a player in that band, plays guitar in the Damn Torpedoes. So I'm excited we're giving away tickets to that. And they do a good job. I mean, they do a real good job. They don't just play the most known hits of Tom Petty. They play those, but they also play some deep cut stuff, and you'll love that. And the show's always different too when you see the Damn Torpedoes. If you're a Tom Petty fan, you can see them over and over again, and you probably see a new show each time, which is pretty cool. And they'll be at the legendary Saxon Pub on Saturday. We'll give away some tickets to that coming up. Also at the Mohawk on Saturday to wrap up our Saturday on our set list ATX. Nick?
I remember that.
Chris Farley. That's awesome. Sounds like Mark Davis, the owner of the Raiders. You know what I'm saying? Chris Farley. Tommy Boy. Oh, that was the movie Tommy Boy. Is that right?
Yep.
That's
right.
good. All right. Also, so Sunday, Mudhoney. Also, 2 more on Sunday. A lot of con. It's a lot of con. Yeah, Joy, a lot of con. There you go, 1995. Nick Shuley, Setlist ATX, the president of the Austin music movement and general man about time. Just as soon as we find out who the performer will be at Longhorn City Limits, we'll let you know and pass that along. Hopefully it comes down before our show's over, but it usually does not. Either way, though, you hope it's a victory for the Longhorns on Saturday, Nick, and then you can go out and watch whoever it's going to be on the LCL lawn because the weather is going to be spectacular. Or you can make it your way home and watch Oklahoma State, and Bedlam and all the rest of the college football day, whichever you choose. But, Nick, we appreciate it, my friend. Thanks for coming in studio and keeping this thing going while we're in our home studios here in South Austin. Appreciate you doing that, my friend.
Thanks, Nick.
All right, and we'll give away those tickets. The Damn Torpedoes. If you do like Tom Henley, you're going to love them. They'll be what did I say? Tom Petty, Tom Henley, Tom Petty, and the his crew. That'll be the Damn Torpedoes. Come up Saturday night, Saxon Pub. If you'd like to be at that show after the Longhorn game, you got plenty of time to get out there and see that. Caller 5 at 447-3776. That's 447-3776. Call Ty, pick up those tickets. Caller 5. We're coming back on Hook 'em Up. Who said that?
Who said
Coming next, Rod. Plus, we got to get some World Series chatter in here. Our Rangers will win away. We'll find out if Ty's feeling confident about it. Also, Cowboys in the trade deadline did nothing, and the college football playoff rankings are out. It's Hook 'em Up.
Did nothing.
Like Southbound Mopac, again, in front of the domain, is still coming from Park. And 183 research, all of a sudden it's backed up again, too. Might have a crash before the Mopac interchange. And south of 183, southbound of Mopac is slow. It stopped going at 2222. So, down, well, give you some good news. All the way outside of 71, the Burton Airport, west of Toll 30. That crash is over with. No more problems there. But on the eastbound side of 290 in Maynard, there's a 993. Where the crash there, not seeing a big backup, though. Burton at Riverside, another one, Manchester, Fort View, another, Woodrow and Cheney.
She's like, what's going on here?
That is your traffic.
At different times in our life, racing thoughts keep us up at night, waking us up early, or preventing us from enjoying life. Do you ever find that just as you're trying to fall asleep, your brain suddenly won't stop talking?
Welcome back. It's Hook 'em Up time with E and Rod D. We're live
Yeah.
with you here on Hook 'em Up. We got one more hour to go. The fabulous fifth hour to come.
That's right.
Which is always fabulous. We'll be talking Rangers and their chances with their ace on the mound tonight to win their first World Championship, which will be a lot of fun. We've also talked college football playoff rankings, and the question is Michigan possibly getting dinged already for this sign-stealing issue, and the issue continues to mount. The issues, I should say. And yesterday went viral some pictures of what appeared to be Connor Stalions, the staffer who has been at the center of this whole sign-stealing operation, on the sidelines of a game that wasn't a Michigan game, but was on the sidelines of a Central Michigan game, Rod. Central Michigan.
That's ugly, man.
And wearing like CMU gear.
Ooh, had shades
Blending
on.
in. Yeah, looking very incognito.
Yeah, looking shady.
And then, so who said this yesterday, Rod? Who said this?
Before we go any further, we've obviously are aware of pics floating around with the sign stealer guy.
Steelers guy.
Bottom of it. We're totally unaware of it. Certainly don't condone it in any way, shape, or form. And I know that his name was on none of the passes that were let out. Now we keep tracing it back and try to figure it out. But it's in good hands with our people. And again, there's no place in football for that.
So it said it's actually his name wasn't on any of the pass officially, which means somebody must have given him his second hand. Like they got a pass and maybe
Connor
gave it to
Stalions
him.
knows people.
Exactly. That's exactly what it means. CMU Central Michigan Athletics Director Amy Folan, she said that they were looking into it, investigating it, and that the VB pass, which is, I think he was spotted with a VB pass, allows access to an area between the 20-yard lines for a certain amount of people. So he got one of them VB passes. By the way, also learned that Amy Folan is the Central Michigan Athletic Director, former Longhorn.
He used to run the foundation.
He used to run the foundation of Texas.
The name is familiar.
Quan Cosby will let me know that because Quan knows every damn body. But so didn't know that. There's a Longhorn connection. Of course there is.
Amy
To
Folan.
this story. Okay, so also.
Well, just so people know, when you're on
Right.
sidelines, the passes are color-coded. So the security, if you're in the wrong place with the wrong color, you got photo, you got.
They should be the dispatcher be like, hey, you shouldn't be here.
Yeah, but if you have one between the 20s,
Yeah.
then he was where he should have been.
That's what I'm saying. Like, but
access.
if you didn't have the right, they
Right.
would be able to tell you, like, hey, you can't be here.
That's right. That's
Usually
right.
they don't mess with those people on the sideline.
Right. Especially when they're wearing CMU gear.
Yes, they assume
Look like a coach.
booster, donor, coach, somebody's family member. They're not gonna mess you once you're down there. But yeah, he does look kind of shady. Okay,
Well, and the point is they were playing Michigan State.
exactly.
And he was looking across the field watching Michigan State.
Confirm his sign stealing
Yes.
operation. He this guy was hands on. He didn't hire nobody to do the job done. He did the job himself. I'll give him credit for that. But what are the odds? Because that was Jim McElwain talking about the sign stealing controversy and the very controversial photo that now people are trying to identify as Connor Stalions on the Central Michigan sideline. And I asked you about this, and you couldn't remember, but I swear I was thinking I found the actual story. Years ago, probably about 4 years ago, Jim McElwain was also involved in a very controversial viral photo. It's like, it wasn't a scandal, but it became a really, really, shady story.
The number one thing on Google when you type in Jim McElwain.
For those who don't know, so there was a photo that went viral, leaked online, of a dude, a guy that looked very much like Jim McElwain. He was a doppelganger. He was butt naked on top of a slaughtered shark on a boat. And this guy was smiling, and it's just a creepy photo. And first of all, PETA and people who are obviously animal rights activists, they got into this like, hey, that's not cool. But then people in the sports world said, that looks like Jim McElwain. And it was on a boat, and he likes to fish and stuff like that. So people assume that's Jim McElwain. It got such headlines. It became such a big story
They had to ask him about it. It became that big of a story. He had to address it. Do you have this guy of Jim McElwain addressing the naked shark photo?
It's me.
And by the way, they've never been able to identify who it is. They never found the actual person.
This is why the interwebs are still undefeated. If you Google it, here's a headline: Jim McElwain still doesn't think the shark humping meme is at all funny.
It's not like become its own thing. It will tell you, man, that was crazy. So, what are the odds of him involved in another viral photo, like scandal, and controversy?
He might be a shark too.
Oh man, that's just a weird one. Anyway,
hey, play this for me there. That's good. Jim McElwain twice, but now play this. Who said this last night, Rod Babers?
On that aspect as it pertains to evaluating Michigan's place in the college football playoff game. Our job is, as we look at the ranking community, even at the follow-up protocol, and as we went through, that really wasn't part of any of the discussions during our time together. Jake, it wasn't part of it. What is the direction? Because we've talked about this many times. One of the beauties of having a committee instead of a formula is that you have different perspectives. You can't control the way people think. But what is the direction to the committee members as it pertains to their personal evaluation of the team as they go through and wade through the times to their situation? We really view it, NCAA is not a CFP issue. At this point in time, as we're looking at this, we want to make sure that we get not only the top 4 teams, but the top 25 teams.
All right, there you go.
That's
somebody
Boo.
Longhorn fans need to get to know.
That's Boo, right?
Yeah, that's Boo Corrigan.
Yeah. Boo
he
Corrigan.
is the CFP chairman.
Yeah.
Taking over for Dave Barda.
He's basically saying, for us, it's not an issue right now because that's the NCAA and basically the conference.
I think that's the tack they have
needs
to take.
Needs to step in. They need to actually punish Michigan. And then we won't have to do anything because the punishment will take care of whether Michigan is going to be available in the college football playoff.
Well, we'll see. I mean,
I think the NCAA needs to step up here. Come on, man.
If the Big Ten's not to protect their own teams,
NCAA takes a long time to investigate, though. It takes like 2 years for them to investigate
that's
stuff.
what I'm saying. That's why the Big Ten should get ahead of this for their good of their own conference. I mean, they can take control of to protect their teams within their conference who have to play Michigan here in the month of November.
Once they got the proof, they ain't got to worry about Michigan taking them to court. Then they're good.
The other part of that is the teams they have to play do know now. If they didn't know before, they know fully where they better have a more advanced system of sign sending and change them all.
That's very good.
Change them all because you have to assume Connor Stallions came to a campus near you and has all of your signs recorded.
What do you think Connor Stallions is now? Because Michigan's hiding that dude out somewhere so that the Wall Street Journal, 60 Minutes, the New York Times, they can't find it because they're all looking for him right now.
I can't wait for this movie. I can't wait for this movie to come out.
Well, who's going to play Connor Stallions in the movie?
Matt Damon. Matt Damon.
That would be good, though. I can see it.
We'll be back. Or the guy looks like Evan Carter who plays for the Rangers. We'll be back. I took him up with Ian Rod B. Fabulous fifth hour coming next.
Keep trying to put the delays, backups to bed here for this rush hour.
That's good.
Can't seem to do it. Southbound on Research is all the way down to Mopac interchange again. An earlier crash. The culprit. The good news is the wrecks on Mopac north and south of 183 are done, but we still have residuals. As we check Loop 360 Capital Texas Highway near.
Hey, I have a.
What's up?
Window Nation spot that needs to be recorded. 15 seconds from stream.
Can you do it over the headset here, or we physically send it to you?
I'm not sure. I'm assuming you can.
But you're not sure how to do it, right? Logistically.
I mean, I can record it that way. I know I can't. I just don't know how it sounds.
Oh, that's a question. Okay. Yeah, because I got a couple of things I need to record. Like, we had every newness. I need a 15 from each of you and a 30 combined. Yeah. That's gonna.
And Aaron.
And then we gotta cut a better help too. It
I need to
says.
re-record Aaron's underdog.
When do we need it by?
I mean, I had to cut out some of the verbiage. I guess that was required because it was too long.
For what? For Window Nation?
Underdog
For Underdog, Window Nation
is newer. Yeah, I need to record. Yeah.
Well, where do they want us? I mean, I don't think it's going to sound good doing it over this. We need to come in, right?
Do you want us to come in and just record them like one of these
I mean,
days
they told
after
us
the
where
show?
we're supposed to record. I mean, we got to have a studio to do these in.
I don't think it would sound good.
Where?
So you want us to come in? I can come in.
Let me ask Eric.
It's client driven. I mean, I can't come in today, but I can come in tomorrow for sure.
Maybe we
I've got a
can.
meeting out at Sign Out with Angie today at Sinus and Snoring Specialist at noon.
Yeah, maybe we can both come in tomorrow and just schedule it so we can knock it all up.
There's repeating. When your home sells for more than Orchard offered you, you'll get that money too. So you get paid twice. And that happens 97% of the time with Orchard. Look, in this Austin market, so many home buying companies trying to lowball you. Orchard is the outlier. They pay you on the upside when your old home sells for more. So let me ask you again. Do you want to get paid twice to sell your home? I know I would. Not even possible. Learn how to get paid twice and get a free valuation at Orchard.com. That's Orchard.com. One more time, Orchard.com.
At different times in our life, racing thoughts keep us up at night, waking us up early, or preventing us from enjoying life. Do you ever find that just as you're trying to fall asleep, your brain suddenly won't stop talking? Your thoughts start racing right before bed, or at other inopportune moments? It turns out one great way to make those racing thoughts go away is to talk them through. BetterHelp gives you a place to do that, so you can get out of your negative thought cycles and find some mental and emotional peace. BetterHelp is a team of online professionals specializing in helping men. They understand the unique struggles we face. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Let therapy be your map. With BetterHelp, visit BetterHelp.com/thehorn today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/thehorn.
You're listening to KTAE-AM Elgin, K270CO Round Rock, Texas Sports, The Horn. Yes, on the horn with your courtesy of the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina Hotline. Vaqueros now delivers and offers curbside pickup. For info on placing lunch or dinner order, visit vaqueroscafe.com.
Mike's going up.
Hook 'em up with D and Rod B. Brought to you by Bud Light on the Horn. All
Man, what a Wednesday it is. Day 1 of November 2023, 11th month will be a fun one. A lot of big college football games to come. As we say, Rod, November to remember. Make it one. Longhorns have the opportunity now. K-State coming to town on Saturday. Dallas Cowboys can start November with a game to remember. They play Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday, and the Texas Rangers can certainly start their November well with their first ever World Championship tonight in Game 5. They've got Nathan Eovaldi on the mound, their ace, who's been so good. He didn't pitch great in the opener. The Rangers had to come back and win with the late home runs. But Eovaldi gets a chance to make amends and, Rod, pick up that historic 5th win fifth
right.
win of a postseason run. He still would hold the record if he win. How about this? Etch your name in the record book and clinch a world championship tonight. It can happen. Eovaldi would become the first pitcher ever to have 5 wins over one postseason, all as a starter. All as a starter. He'll get the ball tonight for the Rangers, who rallied around the injuries to Max Scherzer and Adolis Garcia last night. And, even all the way down to the bottom of the order, Travis Jankowski had a big night. Marcus Semien had a huge night, and the Rangers routed the Diamondbacks. Final score was 11-7, but it was 10-0 when it was time to
Yeah,
go
it was
to bed.
it was over pretty quick. I know they rallied back. It made it interesting, I guess. I
Well,
don't know how-
5-run second, 5-run third. And the Rangers, talk about all the firsts that they're doing. They're the first team ever to have 2 5-run rallies with 2 outs in the same World Series game,
Yes.
or same postseason game.
Same, yes, that's wild.
And that was, if you were watching this game last night, it was, that's, if you're a Diamondbacks fan, that's just gut-wrenching. 2 out rallies where you've gotten the first 2 outs. We're good. We just got to get it out of here, go back to the dugout, go hit.
Got them in the hole. Got them right where you want them.
And they go on to score 5 runs. They don't just do it once, they do it twice.
That's crazy.
In back-to-back frames. That is just demoralizing. They have. They're still, when they clinch this thing, and as we said, 42 of the 49 that have gotten to this point have clinched it. We won't talk about the 5 or 6 that haven't. Cubs, Indians, they're Guardians now, but the Cubs, Indians at the time, last time it happened. But, odds are all there. And when they clinch this team will put its name among the history books for doing a lot of things.
You're right.
Offense.
The postseason.
10-0 in postseason.
Yeah, the road wins, too.
Coming as a wild card all the way.
Road wins, yeah.
Didn't even win the division because they coughed it up on the last day. But it's been a fun run. And you know what? As a baseball fan in Texas, I'll be happy that the World Championship comes back to Texas
for
the second straight year.
He's going to make this rivalry one of the best rivalries in sports. It really, in any sport, any
level. Get your tickets now for next year's, 12 matchups.
That's going to be expensive now.
Yeah.
We're talking about the 2 back-to-back world champions now playing each other.
We'll see who the Astros hired to skipper them, shepherd them with the retirement of Dusty Baker. They've got, I did see, somebody told me Joe Espada is the leading contender. Somebody I trust a lot, the Joe Espada, the bench coach. But one name to watch is Craig Counsell. Craig Counsell's the name that has apparently impressed the Astros because they're doing their former player, former Florida Marlins manager, scrappy player at the time. That one wouldn't, it really comes down to what Jim Crane and Dana Brown would do, go outside the organization or stay inside. Joe Espada has interviewed for a lot of positions, but it kind of feels like he's been waiting his turn to take this job. So we'll see. But the Astros, they're not going to announce that until this is over. But the Rangers have a chance to end it tonight in Game 5 with Nathan Eovaldi on the mound. Now you're going to face Zach Gallen, who's the best pitcher of the D-backs. So if they're going to make a last stand, it'll be with Gallen on the mound tonight. But they just seem like a team that, I don't want to say they're beaten, but, man, that was tough last night. To come in knowing Scherzer's out, knowing no Garcia, you got a chance here to get this thing in your advantage with 3 straight games in your ballpark, and just to get pulverized like that's rough.
Yeah, no, it is. I feel a gentleman's sweep on the horizon here. I don't want to jinx for the Rangers fans. I know how you guys
sweep.
feel, but
That'd be the 5-gamer.
Yeah,
and I will say again, Ty, I will send this to Ty. I'll screenshot it. But right before the first pitch of Game 1, I texted my good buddy Stu, who's the biggest Ranger fan I know in the world, and said, I'm feeling sweep. And he said, I hope for the Rangers. I said, oh, yeah, for the Rangers.
Yeah.
They were fortunate not to lose the first 2 games, crying out loud, so I wasn't looking very prophetic. But now the gentleman's sweep is in play here, the 5-game sweep, and we'll see with Nathan Eovaldi against Zach Gallen tonight. 7:03 first pitch, and I hate to say it because I don't want to. It should be positive about the Rangers, but the TV ratings, as expected, Rod, are not good.
No, just because Diamondbacks don't have enough recognizable names and talent. And I said the Rangers are doing their part. The Rangers had how many All-Stars? 7.
Yeah.
But
the Rangers have also not been in the national scene for a while. They're new to the party. Like it had been Houston, Philadelphia, who were in it last year, but still you're not going to bring, with all this going on, Wembley Mania, the NFL, college football playoff rankings, unless you're a fan of one of these 2 teams, you're probably, or a diehard baseball fan, you're probably not going to make an appointment to see it. And then you turn it on, it's 10-0 in the third inning. You're like, all right,
done. Moving on.
Go watch Grey's Anatomy or something. Whatever kids are watching these days.
Of all the shows you chose to drop
I don't know.
Grey's Anatomy. Interesting choice. Which, by the way,
I don't even know it's on. The Golden Bachelor.
Oh, yeah. I've heard about this show. That's got to be a terrible idea, right? The Golden
Ratings
Bachelor?
are killer.
Oh, sure they are, because The Bachelor always kills it. The Bachelor's ratings
Golden
always
Bachelor.
kill. The ratings for The Bachelor are always high, but man, the Golden Bachelor.
72, 73-year-old dude looking for love.
Are the
Ladies
women
love-
even attractive on the Golden Bachelor?
Yeah, he's
Oh no,
72.
he's old. He's old. Yeah, he's old.
Well,
But-
you know when they do the home visits now, like he's meeting the ladies are meeting his grandkids.
Seriously, come on, man. That's I would say that might have been unnecessary. The Golden Bachelor.
But it's killing it in the ratings. Oh no,
Well,
I can wait for it.
it's because now you're having more and more older single people, though. Back in the day, older people, you didn't have many old single
Well, it
people.
also
Now,
is this.
like divorced old single people.
Well, let's also say this. Who watches over-the-air television channels?
Old people.
Old people.
Old people.
Same people that vote.
Old people.
Same people
yep.
that usually decide who wins our elections.
Yep.
Because young people don't watch over-the-air television and they don't vote.
And
For crying out
why
loud.
aren't they watching the World Series? Old people watch baseball too.
Because they're watching. That's why I said they're
They're
time for the Golden
watching
Bachelor.
They're watching the
Some
Bachelor,
America's
yeah.
Got Talent or something. You know,
Actually-
The voice is on.
Yeah, my mother-in-law loves those type shows, The Voice and stuff. That she loves those America's Got Talent
Yeah,
shows.
yeah. But
Talent
that's where it's
shows,
going. But the Rangers have a chance to clinch it tonight, and let's hope they do. I'll be rooting for them. Sorry, Ty. I will be. Also, we had the NFL trade deadline. Rod, we've talked about the trades and the trade Cowboys didn't make. A lot of Cowboys fans were hoping for Derrick Henry. Let me ask Ty this. Ty, are you disappointed that they didn't make a deal, or are you good with it? I like our guys.
come
He went
on.
Jerry Jones. He went Jerry Jones. Which trade was made by an NFC contender or any of the trades most concerns you if you're a Cowboys fan?
Oh, that's good.
Oh, gosh.
I was about to
Except for the
say,
49ers.
You should be afraid of. This is my thing.
Are you picking them to win this game? All right. Rod, let me ask you, the football theorist and not the fan in the box over there. What is your pick as who made the best trade?
That is
You
good.
can go back a little while, too.
Who made the best trade? Honestly, right now, I'm thinking I hate to say it, I think the Eagles might have made the best trade. If you're talking about a specific need and then filling that need with the best possible option available, and I didn't even know Kevin Riley was available, I think they might have done it. The 49ers don't have a need at pass rusher. They just like pollen pass rushers. They don't really need a pass rusher. But hell, man, it's one of those premium positions that you can never have too many great pass rushers. But
Well,
they
and
need
they got
one.
Chase Young for the stretch run for a third-round comp pick.
Value, great. They got a great value, and they basically built on something that was already a strength. But for the Eagles, they were actually weak in their secondary. Their pass defense is actually one of the liabilities on this team. It's one of the few
Yeah,
liabilities.
they're
on this team.
25th in passer rating allowed.
And that actually addresses a need. So most teams, I don't know, they
Seahawks and Leonard Williams. Seahawks needed to bolster their run defense.
That was good. You're right. That was a good one.
And that's the guy they needed. And
That was a good one.
they pretty much got the Giants to pay for the deal the rest of the way. And the Seahawks now lead the Niners. So, when you play the Niners, you better be able to stop the run and Christian McCaffrey. So, that's the division you got to win. So I would put Seattle up there, and I agree with you about Philadelphia. And they addressed that last week with the Byard trade, and he'll be on the field. Does it matter to you as a Niner fan if you make this trade and don't re-sign Chase Young in the offseason?
No, because this is an all-in year for you. You're trying to go all in, and you got that luxury, right? Because how much you're paying for Brock Purdy? What are you paying for?
Not much.
Like $900,000.
Well, and you just signed Nick Bosa to the mega deal. You're getting the cheaper end of Christian McCaffrey's contract, which is a good thing too. But you just gave Debo big money. So, that's, when they get Trent Williams back and they get Debo Samuel back, I know they've hit this regame skid, but they're still player for player the most talented roster in pro football. And now they've had the number 2 pick of draft just 3 drafts ago.
How do they keep doing this? Like them and the Eagles, like how do they keep figuring to pull off this type of stuff? Like, how does it happen?
Yeah.
They're just that much savvier than everybody else?
Yeah.
I guess so.
The Eagles do it too, man.
That's what I'm saying. The Eagles and the 49ers, how do they keep doing this?
Well, because Jerry likes his guys.
I mean, like these deals are out there for other teams to actually, inquire about as well. And it's like, well, why couldn't?
That's the one that scratches my head or makes me scratch my head is how does Chicago give up a second-round pick to get Montez Sweat? If the 49ers then later in the day turn and send a third
Third
round
round
comp
pick.
pick. 'Cause remember, third round comp picks are after the third round's over.
That's true.
The picks that they sandwich in there between the third and the fourth round
Yeah.
on day 2. Well, they got that for Chase Young. Both need re-signed. Montez Sweat is a little older than Chase Young. Both are real good players. I'm
Good
not saying that,
players.
but you give up a second, and the Bears' second's pretty high. Bears aren't good.
Yeah. And and the thing, you're not good. What are you doing? Why are you trading?
Well,
for?
okay, here would be the Bears' argument is, and they screwed this up last year with Chase Claypool. Remember they gave up a second-round pick to get Chase
They
Claypool?
did.
That didn't work.
That did not work.
And then their argument was, well, we're not going to find a receiver of that caliber in the second round of this draft, which, wrong. Puka Nacua was available in the second round of this draft. I go down a list of good receivers.
Exactly.
Jalen Hyatt.
Miscalculation there.
But their argument is the same. They're going, making the same choice again. We're not going to be able to get the pass rush market in the draft is thin. So we're going to get a guy that we need, a need position, by giving up a second-round pick. And then all of a sudden you're thinking, okay, I can talk myself into that being logical, but then the Niners do it for a third.
But don't you have to re-sign him, though?
They're already actively trying to re-sign him, and they got a ton of cap space. Bears have a ton of cap space.
They need it.
Yeah,
they're going to need it because they're bad.
The other argument in the Windy City is that the Bears were going to pursue one of these two guys heavily in free agency, and now they've already got him, and they can try to sign him before free agency or tag him. You go and use your franchise tag. And look, you might see the Bears go back after Chase Young, too, and try to add both of those dudes.
Yeah, the Bears doing a lot of stuff that doesn't make a lot of sense.
You're right about that.
They can go on the mental gymnastics you want to. Dude, that stuff doesn't
But you know
make a
what?
lot
The
of
Bears
sense.
may end up with number 1 and 2 pick.
There you go. Now, that to me, that's what you focus on. That you're going to rebuild this thing with the number 1, number 2 pick, and you're going to get yourself a quarterback of the future.
And maybe Jim Harbaugh.
On his
way out of Michigan.
He needs an exit strategy right now. He's definitely coming up with an exit strategy right now. And the NFL, I think, will be the exit strategy.
Well, you know what? You feel bad for the players in Michigan because this now becomes a distraction they have to deal with, and it's not their fault. Yeah. They may be benefiting from the sign stealing, but at the same time, they're the ones out there playing. They're going to get, this will be a taint for them, right? And, they're playing great football. So
they're a good team, though. We just don't know how much the sign stealing operation has helped them. And so we don't know how much it is. It may have helped them, a lot. It may have helped them just a little. Maybe it's a negligible difference. We'll find out now because I'm pretty sure with everybody snooping around there,
but what players
can't
know,
operate in the same fashion they were.
You got to think there's some players at Michigan. Man, I wondered how we kept popping right into the right play. We were always right on top of him.
Coach always told
our
game planning and preparation was way better than everybody else's, and our adjustments are amazing.
On the field, we're like, let's get into this play. That's going to work.
Yeah.
And then it works.
It works.
It's unbelievable.
We got the best coaches in the country.
Now they're kind of going, I wonder if that was something that was going on there.
Yeah, could be something like that.
All right, so the deadline winners and losers, plus the Michigan thing. Josh McDaniel out in Vegas. Dave Ziegler, the GM, out. Sounds like Mark Davis went down in the locker room after the game on Monday night and heard what Devontae Adams was saying and said, you know what? Our players don't trust our coaches.
They don't.
Our players don't like our coach. Mm-hmm. Our players don't want to play for our coach. And so I got to fire the coach.
Got to move on. Can't fire all the players.
Yep. I got to fire the coach.
And the coach hadn't proven much
take
anyway.
your GM with him.
Yeah, I think it was just him admitting he had made a mistake in hiring Josh McDaniels in the first place. The truth is, Josh McDaniels probably was the best candidate for that job, and I'm not sure how he convinced Mark Davis that he was the top candidate for that job. The truth is, he didn't have anything on his resume that showed you that he was ready for another opportunity as a head coach other than he was a Belichickian coach. And by the way, by that time, and as we've talked about, everybody around the league should know Belichickian coaches don't necessarily translate in the NFL. It doesn't happen.
Well, somebody has to have told Mark Davis sooner you get your haircut right. But he can't get that right. You know what I mean? You can't get your haircut right, and you're a billionaire.
Nobody gonna tell that boss, hey man, who don't tell him?
Some girl.
Only a woman can tell him that.
Yeah.
But then she's gonna lose a sugar daddy.
That's right.
You don't want to do that. How about this? Josh McDaniels, first head coach in NFL history to be fired before the end of his second season for 2 different teams.
Denver. Now,
come on,
in the same division. Come on, learn your lesson.
Exactly.
All right, so we got all that, plus going behind the burnt orange curtain. But since we missed it in the last hour because we had a great guest, Tim Fitzgerald, breaking down the K-State side of this big showdown game on Saturday, let's get Rod's rant. Should have been at 9:15. It's at 10:15.
Oh, Ty, can you pull up the Devontae Davis sound that I sent you?
Adams.
I sent you Devontae Adams. Sorry, Devontae Adams sound I sent you. I sent one of your DMs and I texted you another one. Let me know if you got them. All right, so we were just talking about Josh McDaniels and him being being relieved of his duty as the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. And I think this started actually with Davante Adams. Earlier this year, multiple times, he has gone on the record with the media about how disgruntled he is about his role, but also about the culture of the team. Got a couple of cuts here. One is from earlier this year, like I want to say it was the end of September, so maybe around week 4 of the NFL season. And the other was from last week where he was on SportsCenter being asked about that Detroit game. So just from this past Monday, the Detroit game where they lost to the Detroit Lions. So, if you don't mind, Ty, would you pull the first cut, which is not the SportsCenter one? This was the one that I sent you via the DMs of Davante Adams from earlier this year in September, around week 4. Thank you, Ty. Sorry, you can cut it out now. My apologies. All right, that's Davante Adams earlier this year, and this is Davante Adams on SportsCenter recently, talking about the loss to the Detroit Lions.
I don't know what to say at this moment. I truly don't. I wish I had the words to, say something that's not going to get blown up in the media and taken out of context. I'm going to just, I truly thought it was going on.
What are you feeling right now? Can you elaborate on anything going through your mind?
Frustration, but, that kind of goes without saying. A lot of making sure that, you have confidence whenever you're out there in office facilities, but it's just hard to maintain that when the results are what's coming. No, it's not hard to maintain the confidence in our offense. It's just hard to curb your frustration when you can't put it together when you need to.
So there you go. So Davante Adams, he got some criticism for those comments saying that he was airing the team's dirty laundry, and now it seems like he was in a cryptic way trying to let everybody know what's going on. They were not solving the problems around there. They were not getting better week to week, and it was a bad overall culture. And I think that may have led to the ownership deciding, all right, you know what, we're moving on. So if it wasn't directly related to Davante Adams' comments, I think I think indirectly, it was definitely his comments that sparked some of this, may have lit the fuse, if you will. I'll just say this, and I said it earlier. Bill Belichick coaching trees, Belichick coaches from his coaching tree, they're all bad at the NFL level, and I don't necessarily know why, but my theory is this. Bill Belichick is not a very open, forthcoming. He is not, and he's not a share. He doesn't share
not
a lot.
Mentor, Rod.
Yeah, he's not a mentor. He doesn't share, and maybe he is a mentor for some people. Maybe they consider him that. But I'm just going off what I know. I know that he doesn't like to share with the media. Right, he mumbles to the media anytime they ask him a question. He is very secretive about what information he's giving out, so he does share that way. We know that he doesn't even share with his own coaching staff. Remember, 2 years ago when Joe Judge and Matt Patricia were designated as the offensive coordinator and the quarterback coach, remember, they didn't know that until the season started. He was actually being secretive and withheld the actual responsibility of his coaches and who was going to coordinate and call the plays. They didn't know. You can go look that up. You can go Google that. His own coaches didn't know. Go look at the Malcolm Butler situation. Remember, he was benched before the Super Bowl. Still to this day, Tom Brady, his teammates, not even Matt Patricia, the defensive coordinator, to this day know why Bill Belichick benched Malcolm Butler before the Super Bowl. Nobody knows. He carries his own amorphous playbook around, right? Just concepts that he's collected throughout the years, and he won't let any of his coaches have access to it. These are facts, all right? This is his personality as a human being. He's just very secretive. He's very clandestine. He's very covert. It makes sense. His background, he has kind of a military background, right? He's a big fan of military strategy, military history, and even in the way that he has built his organization, it was built to I think it was built in a lot of ways to replicate some of those three-letter acronym organizations, right? The FBI, the CIA. He wanted to run like that. He even ran his own Spygate operation to, a library to acquire a library of illicit, surveillance material from other teams. We all know this kind of stuff. To me, that actually affects his coaching tree because coaches, what they need more than anything, they need information. They need data. They need you to share your philosophy, share your ideals, share your thoughts and principles with them, and then they can take that and then form their own kind of coaching philosophy, their own coaching identity. And he doesn't share a lot of information with coaches. As a matter of fact, he only shares with them the enough information for them to execute their job within the structure of his team and with his organization. So you don't learn everything from Bill Belichick. He doesn't open the book to you. He just gives you enough information for you to operate in an effective way within the structure of his organization. And to me, that's why his coaches, when they go elsewhere, they have a hard time replicating that success. Other coaching trees, whether you're talking about Bill Parcells or you're talking about Bill Walsh or Andy Reid, you have numerous successful coaches who came from those coaching trees. John Harbaugh, Doug Peterson, Sean McDermott from the Andy Reid coaching tree, from the Bill Walsh coaching tree, goes on. It's, George Seifert and Mike Honkin and Mike Shanahan. It goes on. Sam Weiss is on that coaching tree. The coaching tree for Bill Parcells, Belichick's on there. Sean Hayden's on there. Todd Bowles is on there. Tom Coughlin's on there. You got some really good coaches on that coaching tree, and I think that's because those guys were able to siphon a ton of information from those coaches. You won't get a ton of information from Bill Belichick because he doesn't share information in that regard. Guys like Bill Parcells, he was an analyst. He was he was an author of a New York Times bestseller. He was a guy that loved to hold court with the media and crack jokes and tell them what was wrong with his team. Belichick doesn't do that. Bill Walsh would go speak at functions, and he would go speak at universities, and he was very professorial about the way he approached the game and wrote lots of books. You can have all the information you had. And he was an open book about, hey, how you run an organization and what you need to do to make your organization more efficient and more effective. And Andy Reid famously is also very forthcoming, very open, and shares a lot of information with anybody who wants to learn more within his coaching staff or anybody who wants to talk about the game, pretty much. Belichick does not share like that. He doesn't. And I think that's affected his coaching tree. And I think that's why all of his coaches from his coaching tree have a hard time translating his lessons to the NFL because they're actually not learning his lessons because he never shares them.
Yeah, that is a great point. The Belichick coaching tree, not fertile. Andy Reid's great. Bill Walsh is great. No doubt about it. Bill Parcells. A lot of those guys. Well said. Rod Babers in the Rents. Coming up, we'll go behind the burnt orange curtain. We're talking Texas football. Sitting in a good spot at number 7, but got to win games. We just had a good conversation last hour with Tim Fitzgerald, kind of breaking down what K-State's all about. They are not dynamic and flashy. They are physical and efficient and very sound as a football team. That's the Longhorns will deal with and how they'll do it. Rod will tell us next. Coming back and behind the BOC, we get what's popping before the end of the hour. Hook 'em up with Ian Rodby.
Same question. What
I'll be right back.
is behind that curtain?
All right, let's talk about some Texas K-State here. We talked all morning about that high, three down defense that you can expect from K-State. One thing you need to know about K-State, they play a lot of man. They'll probably play more man coverage than any of the teams that Texas has faced so far. They play a lot of man. Now they play it in different ways, and they'll get to in different ways from that three high, three down shell look. But they do a really good job of playing man, and Texas receivers haven't performed great versus man coverage this year. They've been okay, but they'll probably see more man coverage in this game than they've seen a lot this past season. And I think the reason K-State will play a lot more man is because I think they're going to blitz Malik Murphy. I think they're going to come after Malik Murphy as much as they can. He's a young quarterback. He hasn't seen a lot of live reps, live action in the couple of times he was blitzed. In the BYU game, we saw him make some bad decisions. We saw some questionable footwork, some throw the ball off his back foot. I think K-State's going to try to get him to, have some of those similar struggles that he had versus BYU. But second start, and maybe you got a more experienced quarterback, and maybe you start to see the light go off, and you start to see a baseline of consistency, hopefully, from Malik a little bit more. But we saw the wild plays. We also saw some very questionable decisions from Malik. Got to clean some of that up in this game versus K-State. Now, K-State will run three high, three down, which is three safeties, three down linemen. For those who haven't been keeping up with it, I've been talking about this for like 2 years. Sark's offenses, they have struggled a little bit. And they've scored points. They haven't been shut down, but his offenses have been less effective, less efficient, all right, and less prolific versus these three high, three down defenses. What are you looking at? Passing yards? What are you looking at? Third down percentage, touchdown interception ratio, points per game, even points per game. You're looking at anywhere from a 9-point difference compared to Sark's averages since he's been here at Texas as a play caller, to close to a 2-touchdown difference. If you look at Sark's averages versus three high defenses compared to his offensive averages versus other types of defenses. So there's no doubt about it. It is something that's a bit of Achilles heel, an Achilles heel for Sark and Sark's offenses here at Texas. So how do you combat it? What does Sark need to do to combat the three high, three down? From my notes, and I've been looking at this for the last 2 years, I believe the best way to counter the three high, three down, to force it out of its shell coverage. The best thing and most unique thing and the biggest strength of the three high, three down is disguise. It is the distortion that it creates pre-snap. You can eliminate the disguise and eliminate that distortion. It's just a defense playing cover 3, cover 4. Or playing man coverage, or it's just a blitz, or it's just a simulated pressure, or it's just a zone blitz, right? When you eliminate the distortion and the malleability of that concept prior to the snap, then it just becomes the type of defense that most quarterbacks have some recall with, right? They know what cover 2 beaters are. They know what cover 4 beaters or cover 3 beaters. They're baked naturally into the game plan and into offensive plays. The problem is when you have the pre-snap disguise and the pre-snap distortion, you force the opposing quarterback to process everything post-snap. So instead of getting indicators pre-snap that give you a hint as to what the defense is doing, you get none of that, and all your indicators or post-snap, forcing you to process everything in like a 2 second. All right, you got 2-second window to process everything. And honestly, for quarterbacks, it's almost overwhelming to a lot of quarterbacks, and they have to check it down. That's what we saw from Quinn versus U of H, right? He didn't know they're going to run a three high, so what was he doing? A lot of check downs. So when you start looking at how it affects the pass game, it just really confuses, discombobulates opposing quarterbacks. So I think in order to get it out of its shell, to get the three high, three down defense out of its shell disguise, you force it to declare itself. And the way to do that is to go extreme formationally or extreme in your personnel groupings. That's why the 6-0 line package works really well against three high. At least it had last season. You go look at the three high defenses. When Texas played last season, when they deployed the 6 line package, Texas averaged 6.8 yards per rush. That's a really good number. All right, and that's because I think the run fits from the 3-3 down, they are also disguised. They sling those run fits, so oftentimes offensive blockers on the O-line, guys, tight ends, wide receivers, they're not always sure about who they're supposed to block in the run fit because it doesn't declare itself to the last possible minute. And then these guys are shooting gaps from different angles, and the offensive blockers have a hard time getting their blocking assignments. Well, if you force them to declare their run fits and get to their run fit responsibility prior to the snap, then their offensive blockers, they know, all right, this is my assignment, this is my responsibility in a run game, and you can get to it, and you can be assignment sound. Usually against a 3-high, you're not assignment sound because you don't even know where the hell your assignment is half the damn time. That's with the run defense, but that's why the 6 O-line package works really well. Forces it to declare itself. Same thing in empty formation or 3-by-1 sets. Trips to one side, single receiver to the other. These very, extreme formations, they force that coverage to declare itself. So you got 3-by-1 sets or empty sets. They have to get to their alignment and assignment right away. They will abandon the distortion. They will abandon the disguise to get to their alignment and assignment. When they do that, they will show you their coverage. All right, last year, Texas, when they ran empty formation, over 50% first down and touchdown rate in empty formation versus the 3-high 3-down. And I went and looked at the Missouri game where Missouri beat Kansas State this past season. They ran a ton of 3-by-1, and they ran a ton of empty formation. Got explosive plays out of empty formation and 3-by-1 sets. At least 5 20-plus yard pass plays out of 3-by-1 set, trips to one side, single receiver to the other. Oklahoma State, and we know Mike Gundy, he was the first one to actually utilize the 3-high 3-down way back in 2016. And then he had Jim Knowles on his staff who perfected the 3-high 3-down and now uses it with Ohio State, one of the best defenses in the country. If anybody knows the antidote to the 3-high 3-down, it's him. And what did Oklahoma State run a lot of? 3-by-1 sets against K-State. Tons of them. Trips to one side, single receivers to the other, except they ran the football out of it because it has the same effect. We're talking about the same process. If you expose 3-3 down and force it to declare itself, even in the run fit, your run responsibilities, your rush offense, and your rush blocking is going to be more sound, and it's going to be more assignment sound. So I think that's the key. And my stats, all my analytics, and all my notes say it works. Whether you're talking about 3-by-1s or empty sets in the passing game, or you're talking about 6 O-line packages, heavier sets, maybe even pony packages, which are 2 tailback sets in the run game, I think that's the way Texas should attack K-State.
Good stuff with the strategy in this game. We'll see if Sark implements three receivers, trips to the right, also the empty sets and the 6 O-line package. And you're doing it all with a backup quarterback, of course, who will get all the reps this week.
Yes.
So how they weaponize him. Also, we've talked about Rod, weaponizing these running backs because Keelan Robinson coming off a real good game, couple real good games. Savion Red, obviously Jonathan Brooks and C.J. Baxter healthy. That can help too.
Yes, it can.
And at the end of the day, Longhorns win. Longhorns have a definitive advantage at skill position players in this game. Lines of scrimmage. And that's why Sark was up in the rear end of his offensive line on Monday. He understands how important it is. They can't. They can't not be physical like they were against BYU all too often.
Yep.
This one, they can win this game if they can win the line as a scrimmage because their skill talent is better, even with a backup quarterback. But if they don't, and they're in 3rd and long all the time, it's going to be a challenge against this team. All right, we'll come back. I like the analysis. We will hit what's popping.
What's popping?
Including Rod. There's a rivalry football game tonight that I got to tell you about. It's near and dear to my heart.
Really?
Yeah, no one's going to watch it. Might be snowing, but you need to know about it. I told you what, Lee and Rodby.
Like sports, business is about winning. Championship decisions are business decisions. Based on what it takes to help your company win. And that's why there's UBO Business Services, specializing in helping you win every day by streamlining workflow and allowing you to better communicate within your organization and with your customers. Make your championship decision with UBO Business Services. Visit them at UB.
Glad you're with us. And got somebody said, watching you guys on Twitch, it's bitching to watch you guys on Twitch from the home studio. E's audio's a little choppy, so we'll get that addressed. We are back on Twitch and YouTube here in the South Austin Onion Creek home studio. This says Rod's analysis needs to be sent to the Texas coaches. I do not have confidence that the Texas staff is doing this good of analysis. Way to go, Rod.
They got it. Trust me, Sark's on to it. Whether he's going to use it or not. He needs to be an extremist. Sometimes Sark is too moderate in his approach. He needs to be an extremist in this game.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Go Putin. Full Putin.
Yeah, go right. Well,
don't be a moderate. Yeah. Not to be political, but don't be a moderate.
Don't be a moderate.
Hey, so what's popping, Rod? We got Sex Panther pick of the night coming up with Ty. I think, Ty, you had Central Michigan last night. Is that right? Is that your pick? Because they did win.
No. I think I had Northern Illinois.
Way to go. Central Michigan won that game.
I had the Rangers.
Yes, he did.
Also, if you see the Toledo game last night at the Glass Bowl in Toledo, they won in a blizzard. It was a total blizzard. They won 31-13, beat Buffalo.
Damn, that's a lot of points in a blizzard.
I switched to I've been on my my bed/fort. I told you about earlier that I've been watching all the games on in my room. And I actually switched to a little bit of action, NBA action. You know what I
Mac,
last night too.
Well, so the Glass Bowl, in Toledo, right back during the the assembly line, right, in Detroit when they were turning out cars. Where I grew up in Akron, Ohio. Akron was the rubber capital of the world, right? So we have the Rubber Bowl.
Oh,
so all the tires for all the cars came in Akron. You had BF Goodrich and Firestone, Goodyear. That's where the Goodyear blimp is based in Akron.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, but then Toledo was all glass. That's where all the windshields and the mirrors and all that was made.
Wow.
Pittsburgh was steel, right?
Okay.
And so then they just chucked it up to Detroit, and that's where they made the car. But you had all the materials, all the parts were made.
Wow. In the Midwest.
Right through the Rust Belt, as they call it. But so Toledo plays at the Glass Bowl. If you go to play in a game with Akron, you play in the Rubber Bowl. And tonight, this is the one that's near to my heart. Akron plays Kent State tonight, Rod, in 50 nights of football.
All right.
Akron has to travel. They'll host it at the. It's now called the Infusion Stadium. It's a Rubber Bowl in Akron, Ohio. Kent State's this is like the Rust Belt version of Duke, North Carolina. It's like 10 miles apart. It's like 10 miles apart.
Okay,
Kent State and Akron. It's a short drive to one. But they're both 1-7, and they both stink, and the over/under is like 30. So, and they might play in a blizzard tonight.
Are they ever both real good?
Akron's been good. Remember when they had the Bowden, when Terry Bowden was
coaching? Zips, right?
Yeah, Zips.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
they actually have Zips and the Flashes.
Actually, both of them have had good, decent football programs at times. I don't know if they're at the same time.
Kent State's claim to fame would be Jack Lambert, Julian Edelman, right. Antonio Gates played some football there, and of course Nick Saban. His first coaching job was at Kent State.
Ooh.
Yeah. Okay, and Kent State also is where who was the longtime Washington coach, Washington Huskies.
Yes.
Way back, 70s, 80s.
Okay.
He came out of Kent State.
Okay.
It's cradle of coaches. So, and if you go Kent State, Akron, then Youngstown's right there. Right? Youngstown's where all the Stoops boys came from.
Yes, there's a lot of good coaching
Jim
Tressel too.
And it's all right down one freeway. And you go Akron, Kent State, and John Mackovic is from a town called Barberton, which is not far either. So all those they're all football crazy, junky people.
Yeah, I was gonna say a Midwest little group there. Yeah.
Oh man, cradle of coaches. So but they're both 1-7. Someone's gonna win it tonight.
Are you gonna watch that thing?
Hell no.
You just giving it a shot.
I was born on the campus, so I might as well. I might want to check it out tonight. It's 6:30 ESPNU. Go Zips over the Kent State Flashes. Also tonight, 50 nights of football, 6 o'clock. Ball State's at Bowling Green. That's in Bowling Green, Ohio, right on the border of Kentucky. That game is at 6.
I don't know about
no football for you tonight. You'll be watching film.
I'm going to watch the film. Yeah, I'm going to finish chopping up red zone stuff for Texas. I should be done with that by tomorrow.
We get the deep dive red zone analysis.
Should be tomorrow.
Which could be like a colonoscopy.
Yeah. Yes. I have no idea where it's going to take me. And yeah, exactly. As unpleasant as one, too. I have no idea where it's going to take me. So I'll finish charting the red zone place tonight and let you guys know what I find.
All right. Well, we can't wait. Ty and I and everybody else should be watching the Rangers. Try to clinch this thing. You feeling good about it tonight, Ty? From your man-made bed at home, your little cave you've built, you feeling good? If Ty had laid in his bed and watched these games, they've won all of them.
Yes.
So you need to stay there. No deep Eddie runs, Rod. No booty calls tonight.
Nope. Have you watched all games alone?
The only game I did not watch alone was the one on Saturday when I went out in my penguin suit for Halloween.
Oh, that's
Where'd
right.
you get the penguin suit, by the way? I never heard this.
friend
Did
had
you
it.
invent it, or you borrowed it from your buddy? What happened?
One of my buddies who was in a fraternity at Texas just had a bunch of random costumes like that from Pledge and other.
That's
random
true.
things.
You
I love
do
that
kinda-
you have a friend who just collects random costumes. Like,
Well, if you're in a frat, they do all kinds of themed parties, and so you kind of had to have those, and then you just keep them.
I've never been to frat, so I guess I wouldn't know that.
See, exactly. I'm with you on that.
I wouldn't know you had a closet just full of random costume and different types of.
Well, you know me. You and I are not. I'm not a hoarder. I don't. If I buy something new, I get rid of something. That's kind of my policy. But that always kills me come Halloween. Because I'm like, oh, you know what I need? Damn it!
Yeah, it's true.
Gave away Goodwill.
Yeah, you're right.
I need that shirt.
Goodwill is probably where you need to go for.
Oh, that's
for
yeah.
Christmas. Just like for Halloween, you want to dress up.
That's right. That's right. All right. Well, I did actually go to Goodwill when I was on our way to do our pregame Mockingbird Saloon last week. I stopped the one on Lake Austin, and I got some sunglasses because I went as Rip.
Oh, that's right.
Rip from Yellowstone.
But
I
that's
needed
not the GW, is it? Is that the GW by
It
the
was
way?
a brand new one right next to Deep Eddy Cabaret.
Ooh, I bet they some good stuff.
Right, brand new.
Brand new Goodwill.
Yeah, man.
Get that good stuff.
That's where Ty goes. Go to Deep Eddy. Ty, you been to that Goodwill yet?
The new one I have not.
Yeah.
I'm eyeing it every time I go to Deep Eddy.
You're such an old soul. I've been eyeing that Goodwill ever since.
All right, Ty, are the Rangers your Sex Panther pick of the night, or is there something different? You got the Rockets are playing, the Mavericks are playing tonight.
Don't bet on the Rockets.
All Dallas parlay, 3 legs, Mavericks, Stars, Rangers.
That's good. That's good. I like that.
That would actually be Dallas, Arlington.
Oh, right.
Sorry. Just a thought.
Get the man break.
Good luck. Hey, go get him tonight, Rangers. Let's not make this come back. If you're coming back to Arlington or Dallas, you want to be having a parade, no more games. Enjoy that tonight. We'll have a Thursday edition at 6 a.m. If you missed all of the conversation this morning or any of it, go to the podcast at hornfm.com. Jim Rome is next.
Everyone here knows Diamonds Direct is the place to go for the best diamonds at the best prices. Did you know that?
We'll record all those spots. I have a meeting at noon out way out.
Now come buy their diamonds. These high-end shoppers have discovered that Diamonds Direct has one of America's best selections of large, rare diamonds, from 3 carats to 20 carats, all certified by the GIA. Carats to 20 carats, all certified by the GIA.